If I can remember, this is one job. Oh, everybody said they were looking at my legs. The signs missed it.
Really? People are looking at you.
And COVID hit.
That's because I'm always so cold.
It's freezing.
I said I need long things, no long things.
Mhm. I got you.
I know.
I know it.
Those are gonna be workshop agenda items. They're not gonna add any time to the workshop. But they're items I-
You want me to turn it on to turn it towards the first?
The board members.
Oh, man, keep on me.
They all know when I get nervous because my feet's going to go.
Under the warrant, all fun of work.
Yep.
That's better.
Man,
Good morning, this is Sandy Simonich.
Morning, Sandy.
Morning, Lori. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Oh, we're freezing, but we're doing well.
ready? Did you give me the thumbs up? Nope. I gave him two things. Now I'm on. Good morning, everybody. I call to order the regular board meeting of October 17th at 9:31 here in Marks Hall. Louis, would you lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
Our Heavenly Father, really grateful for this time together, and we give you thanks for this opportunity to serve our community and its residents. We ask that you give us wisdom and patience as we express our opinions constructively, and that we hear all our colleagues and our residents' opinions and act on them with wisdom. Thank you, Lord, for this time. These things we ask in the name of our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
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 Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Lori, could I have the roll call, please?
Sure. Mary Chandler,
Here. In the hall.
Lori Dalton here via Zoom, Kathy Gregory,
Present in the hall.
Todd Lombardi,
Present in hall.
Russell McAllister,
Present in hall.
Louis Nichols,
Present in the hall.
Pete Price,
Present in hall.
Sandy Simonich,
Present on Zoom.
and Dwayne Trotter.
Present and in the hall. Okay, I'd like to have resident comments, please.
You want to explain this slide?
Before you get started, when you give your name and address, we have a different time clock. It will show yellow, green, and red. When the yellow pops up, that's going to be your 30-second notice, so we don't interrupt your train of thought. Go ahead.
Donald Gunning, 2114 Iowa. I have a question, comment, and a suggestion. So I'll do the question. Now, on this marina project, I've heard that we have two different chances to pay for it. Can we split payments up to half and half again?
I'll answer those when you get
okay.
through there.
Okay, and I've also heard about possibility of you guys raising the marina fees, be equivalent to some of these other marinas around. I don't think that's a good suggestion. I mean, a good idea because of what we have. The marina we have is great for us, but we don't have the amenities that the other marinas have to be able to raise it up to that price. Running out of time. So my suggestion is also about security with the marina, putting a fence around it, the fob, so you can get into it because there's a lot of people that go there not supposed to be in there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, wait, Dwayne,
Corey,
can you ask him to give me his name again? I missed his name completely.
I was going to ask that.
It's Donald Gunning at 2114 Iowa.
Thank you.
No, we didn't use that. He had another one minute. Yeah. We didn't use that. It's not set right.
Do we have any other resident comments, either here in the hall or on Zoom?
Dwayne,
Yes.
this is Dottie. Just wanted to let you know channel 732 is not showing.
They're working on it. Thank you.
Okay, all right, but I have no comments.
Okay. Done.
Good morning. I'm Donna Fishburne, 1607 Iowa. I want to thank the board for looking at my emails that I sent you over the weekend. Hopefully the last question you guys will discuss. My other question is, what happens when somebody else uses your fob? I had a neighbor come up to me and ask me if they could use my fob because they didn't have it re-upped. And I told them I wasn't comfortable with giving it to them. It wasn't just for them, it was for somebody else that didn't even belong to the park. And so I don't know if they found one to get in or whatever. But what happens when somebody else is using somebody else's fob, whether it be family, friend, or neighbor? Is there any repercussions? This was a conversation we had up at the pool the other night with a couple that only comes sporadically down here. They're not completely snowbirds, but they had the same question because they had problems, like I had stated in my emails. So that was a question they asked me to bring up.
Great.
Yeah.
As soon as I finish the public comments, I'll have the trustees respond to that.
Rod Smith, 6522 Washington Street. Had a friend of mine in the park, went into the dumpster area and was dumping some stuff in there. And another guy pulled in with a trailer and he asked him, do you live in the park? He said, no. And he said, well, then get the, you know what, out of here. And he got pretty direct with him and he did get out to it. And Mary and I were chatting a little bit at bingo last night about a solution to that is if you fence the dumpsters in and put a fob on it where you have control, you can shut it off rather than putting the sign out because as we're well aware, people can't read. So might be something we'd want to look in. It wouldn't take much of a fence, but it might solve some of the problems and getting overcharges on full loads or too many loads, that type of thing. So my comment.
Do I have any other public comment?
Dwayne, I would like to make a public comment as a resident. So it's gonna, even though I'm sitting here and I'm happy to go to the podium, but what I'm about to talk about is me as a resident, not as a board trustee. I am,
You give your name and address.
oh, I'm sorry, Mary Chandler, 6605 Washington Street. Boy, I don't even follow the rules. I'm asking if there's any residents here that have recently come into a problem refinancing their homes through FHA. I have personally run into a problem where FHA guidelines have changed recently, and they're requiring that you show proof that your residence is yours and has been yours for 12 months. And they won't accept a post office box as proof that you live there. I've been denied financing because my mail goes to a post office box. And I've tried giving them everything you can imagine to prove I own the property. And because my utility bills go to a post office box, which is one of the things that they require. My retirement checks go to my post office box. My bank statements go to my post office box. They're saying I haven't met the requirement. So I have personally filed a complaint with Vern Buchanan's office. And brought this to his attention that I, whatever the reason was that FHA changed their guidelines, I have to believe it was not intended to exclude a group of people who have a dedicated exclusive post office box. And so if there's anybody else that's come across that and they've found a way to work around it, I want to hear about it. But if they've been denied and just decided they had to go to a conventional mortgage or something else, I would like to know if they wouldn't mind sharing that with me, because it's information I'll pass on to Vern Buchanan's office. I went to him with my personal issue, but I also made sure he was aware that we have 1,276 homes in here that are going to fall under that same restriction, to get it some more attention. I just filed a complaint with him on Friday. It's been assigned to someone to investigate, and it's too soon for me to have any report out for it. But, if I can help you in any way by adding your situation to my claim, I would be more than happy to do so.
Mary, who did you file that claim with?
Vern Buchanan's office?
Oh, okay, gotcha, sorry.
Okay, any other public comment?
Good morning. My name's Susan Jacket. I live at 2115 Iowa Avenue. I'm definitely not in favor of increasing the slip fees. I'm a boat owner. I enjoy it very much. I am concerned about the hurricane security here. I saw that someone got a trailer stolen right in the area before the fence, but if the fences are down during the hurricane, then it can be stolen also, your boats. And then another thing is parking at the kayak ramp. I noticed some young men who don't live in the park parking there often on the weekends for long hours at a time at Friday and Saturday nights. And I reported it to a board member, and they said they told them that they'll be charged with trespassing next time. And then a couple weeks later, I saw one of the cars still there, and the man was way out casting nets, things. And what about security at all at the park? I have heard that early in the morning, there's a lot of homeless people laying around the kayak area. And, there's water there, there's bathroom there. So it's an ideal living facility for them. And I think it's dangerous. I've wanted to take my cart down there to watch the sun come up, while it's still dark, and I'm a little concerned about going there. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your work.
Okay, do I have any other public comment? Hearing none, I'll close the resident comments. Oh, I have one more.
My name is Wayne Jacket. I live at 2115 Iowa.
No, that's it. Thank you.
I'm not in favor of raising the dock fees. And this is why. I think that if you do, go ahead and raise the fees at the pool, go ahead and raise some fees at the post office. If you go ahead and raise the fees at the pickleball and all that thing, that'd be fair. I think I agree with the fence around the whole arena, because then you can charge the people for watching the manatees, all the people that come and observe everything around. And I just think that'd be fair. Go ahead and charge by the fob, because you'll know when everybody comes, you'll go ahead and the people that that love to watch the manatees, they get charged too. And fishing, there's people that come, grandchildren and everything else, just charge them too. And that'd be fair. Just make sure that you gather all the people that observe the water, go ahead and charge those. And I don't see how it'd be unfair to do that. To raise the prices of the slips, I come here because it was really inexpensive to do that. That's why I bought in here. So to raise the fee is very unfair to have the boaters that they give their fees to the slot out here, go ahead and charge them again. And I see that would be fair. So when you're thinking about raising prices, think about these, I'm on a fixed income, and to keep raising, the 5% is fine. You got to do that, but to raise them and to be along with everybody else to, to pay more, might as well go to another arena. But I think it'd be fair if you if you're going to raise the prices to the slip, go ahead and do it to the pool. People that, even if it's just a grandchild that comes in, raise the prices there, and you'll get what you need.
Great, thank you. Do I have any other resident comments? Hearing none, I'm closing resident comments. Would any of the Board of Trustees like to respond to some of the comments? I'll go ahead and take the marina. The split payments, I don't think the board has discussed split payments that
Can't
won't,
do split payment.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. can't.
Splitting
The
the
prepayment,
prepayment.
the prepayment, there's going to be two windows of opportunity to prepay your special assessment that's related to the seawall repair project. One is going to be in March of 2023. At that point, you will prepay your portion of the special assessment. You can't pay a partial prepayment. It's got to be the full
The whole.
prepayment. And then for those that didn't take advantage of it, that wish they had, they will have one more opportunity in 2024. And then we're going to close off the prepayment option, mostly just because of the logistics of keeping track of who's prepaid, who hasn't, and how to accurately assess going forward. We can't, we can revisit it in 2025. As a board, we can make that decision, but right now, what's in place is two opportunities, once in 2023 and once in 2024. And it has to be the full payment. It can't be a partial payment.
Great. And then I had 3 comments about raising the boat slips. We discussed that at the October 3rd meeting. It will be postponed until sometime, since we're just now sending out all the invoices for the slips, that will be postponed until
I think when we do the
April,
budget.
May, when we start right into the budget process. Like I reported at the October 3rd meeting, we went out and did a survey of all of the different marinas, and you're absolutely correct. Most of the marinas have 65 foot of water. They have restaurants, they have sewage disposal, they have electricity, water, manned people standing right there to help you do the docks and stuff. The only comparable rate that we had was right over here with Bayshore Gardens, who has basically the same thing. Granted, we only have small little slips, 5 foot of water. You have electricity and water, but you can't do any of the storage. Oh, the other one that they had was gas. We can't provide the gas. We went through that fiasco before. But what I did find is we are only paying about 35% of what the other marinas are charging. We are not even in compliance with what Bayshore Gardens is looking at for the boat slip. The comment there that we charge for the pool, looking at the sunset, the kayaks and stuff, that we have discussed about 2 years ago. We will not go a la carte. I'm not going to be charging to use the pool, shuffleboard, pickleball, blah, blah, blah. It would just be a total nightmare. I'm glad that you bought into the park, but that's exactly what you did. You bought into the park as a whole, knowing that we had all of the different amenities. We also had the marina, the swimming pool. So it's inexpensive to live here in Trailer Estates Park and Recreation with everything that you have, including the internet, the cable, everything that we have. I have looked around at other parks and their facilities, and they are paying more. I think I just talked to an individual that is paying about $220 a month for their internet, which you are getting free here. So you have gives and takes on what you're going to be charged. I personally have a boat. I am still not against raising the rates for both the non-residents as well as the residents. But again, that will be a board decision when we get ready there in the budget hearings. Enough said with that. Using of the fob, yes, there is a penalty for that. I'm glad you did not pass out your fob. It is in our rules and regulations. It's also a finable offense. And if anybody is caught doing that, I can't tell you what the dollar amount is for passing out your fob, but don't do it. It's not worth it. I didn't bring it.
I didn't either.
What else?
Dumpster.
The dumpsters.
The dumpsters, yeah.
Look, Rod, we talked about the fence around the dumpsters and putting a fob on just that fence. It wasn't feasible because what the first thing was going to happen is just like what's happened every day since the hurricane. The dumpster gets full. If I had the fence around it, they take their garbage and go right over the top of the fence. And then here's our staff coming right back doing the same thing of what they're doing now to try and pick up around the dumpsters. Yes, we did look at that. I could just see a bigger nightmare trying to go through and picking up all the stuff. I'd also have a big concern about the dumpster drivers putting a dumpster right through the fence, but they've already taken down a couple of poles. What else do I have?
And aren't we looking into, or maybe we're going to talk about looking into, our security cameras having some kind of backup battery access so that we don't lose security when there's a power outage
Yes.
due to a
I've talked to
storm?
Big Fish about that, but we haven't got anywhere yet. Yeah.
Okay,
And I also want to bring out too is the cameras will go down if we absolutely lose power. Stealing of the trailer, I've actually had another trailer that was stolen out of the back part of the parking lot, even when we did have power. So, you know, I don't know how to respond to people that just have, they're just going to come in and steal. The homeless population on the east side of the park, there are always homeless individuals. I have empathy for them. Sleeping down here, I know the maintenance staff does catch them and push them out of the park. I don't know which trustee you talked to about the individuals parking there overnight. I'll have to ask that. Anybody recall? You remember who you talked to? Lewis? Okay, I'll get with Lewis to see if we can't put, keep that for the trespassing part. But yeah, we have actually trespassed people out of the pavilion area. So I'll work with Lewis after we get out of here. Yeah.
I have removed 2 different times the guys that were launching kayaks and fishing from the, I spoke to him twice. One guy was before he got out of his car, I asked him if he was going to put his kayak in. He said he was going to cast net. And I said, it's not allowed. And he said, I don't have to ask for permission. I said, well, sorry, but I can call the authorities. And he did leave. And another time it was a guy fishing and they left and they did come and talk to me and say they understood. And a resident actually had told them it was okay to come there. And I said, well, that's incorrect. Residents don't have the right to grant access to outsiders to this area. So when I see them, we've acted, but I haven't lived down there looking for them either, you know. Dwayne, I have a couple other comments.
Did I cover everything? Go ahead.
Regarding the, you know, the notion of paying for the other amenities in the park, you know, the marina is the only amenity that you pay for. It's also the only one you have exclusive access to part of it. In other words, to charge someone for playing pickleball, well, that's not the only thing that happens there. That the pickleball floor gets danced on, it gets preyed on, it gets eaten over. It's available to every member of the park. You're the only one that has access to your boat slip. So that's why, in my mind, that's why it bears a fee and the other amenities don't. They're available to every single person, but your boat slip is only available to you. And then one other comment, Mary, just a thought. I don't know, this is not something I've used, but I wonder, like the one place I have things delivered to my house is Amazon delivers to my street address. And I wonder if you said, look, I've had 10 packages delivered to this address to me.
unfortunately, that I gave them my shipping receipt for my kitchen cabinets that I had
Yeah.
delivered when I remodeled
Yeah.
my kitchen, and they said, nope. The last thing I've tried is my voter registration card, which has my street address
Yeah.
on it. They are reviewing that to see if they can accept it, and they haven't given me an answer back yet.
That's a US
Yeah.
government document. That should
Well-
be good enough.
That they said they will try to see if that can qualify.
Mhm.
But I mean, you know. Thank you.
Have you, so when you moved here, you know, you do the registration fee with the park. Have you tried that?
I tried my registration in the office,
Because we use that to prove residents to open bank
No.
accounts when we got
and
here.
unfortunately, the registration at the post office, when I opened up my post office box, was so many years ago. Doesn't exist. Information in the post office was purged evidently. So it doesn't exist. So I'm yeah, I'm working on it. I'm not gonna let this thing
Driver's
go. Driver's license doesn't matter, tax returns don't matter. I've tried everything. So I'm hoping Vern can help me and
Yeah.
anybody else that might come across it.
But again, if you have that kind of a problem, please just get in touch with Mary and we'll see what we can do there with Buchanan's office.
Yeah.
Okay, I hope we have answered all the questions. Pete?
Could I make a comment on the safety?
Sure.
Every year at the April coffee break, we have a deputy from the sheriff department who comes to do a presentation to the people who joined the coffee break at that time. And he provides information how you can look out for your own personal safety, gives you a lot of input and hints. He will also provide you information of people at the sheriff department who to contact. He will provide you information on the number of runs they do in this area, the type of crimes that are taking place. And that's each April at the coffee break that he does that. And it's good information if people want to come. And unfortunately, we really usually don't have that many people at the April coffee break. But he provides good information. And he passes out different information also.
And I do remind all the residents that all you have to do is pick up your phone and call the emergency number for the sheriff, and they're pretty responsive of being here.
Mhm.
Okay. I'd like to go into the approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the October 3rd, 2022 board meeting?
I'll move to approve that.
Lewis made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mary made the second. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. The minutes are approved. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the October 3rd, 2022 board workshop meeting?
I'll motion, Mary.
Mary made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Kathy made the second. Are there any corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as read or written, please say aye.
Aye.
Those against, nay. Minutes are approved. Mary, could I have the treasurer's report, please?
Okay, Lori? You there, Lori? Okay.
I keep getting muted, sorry.
Oh, that's all right. I just want to warn you that the treasurer's report is going to be a lot more detailed today than it usually is, and it probably will be going forward because of everything that's going on. So, just wanted to give you a heads up. So
All right,
as of
just go
today,
forward.
I will try. As of today, our checking account with First Horizon, which is a checking account I'm in the process of closing, because we've moved our business to Regions, has a balance of $10,151.76. And I'll be working on getting that closed before the next board meeting. The Regions Bank checking account as of today has a balance of $16,484.70. The Treasure Barn checking account has a balance of $842.24, and that does not include sales from, I believe, last Thursday or last Saturday. So once we get those deposits made, that will, they can give that
Mary,
report.
how much was that? I'm sorry.
For which one?
Treasure barn?
$842.24. They have made sales much higher than that, but they've got new vests and so there's some expenses that come into that. That's why it's that much. The First Horizon money market account has been closed. It has a zero balance now. That's now with Regions. The Regions money market account has a balance of $341,641.10. We have an account for uncommitted funds. These are the funds that have been transferred from the dissolution of the fire department. It's the combination of the old auxiliary account and the old fire department account. And that account currently has a balance of $267,257.65. The last account is our loan account. We received loan proceeds of 1.5 million. We have made one payment to Florida Structural. The balance as of today is $1,060,000 $60,250. I apologize. There will be
Say
another
that again, 1,060,000.
$1,060,250.
Okay, thank
We
you.
do, yeah, and we have a payment due to Florida Structural on 10/31 for our next installment payment with them is $245,000. So after that's done, it will be $815,250.
It's on the 10th.
That's on October
31st.
31st is our next installment payment. Going forward, I'm hoping that I will be just giving Regions checking, Regions money market, the treasure barn, the uncommitted and the loan proceeds, but there will be a lot more data with the different account setups we have now.
All right, thanks. Thanks, Mary.
Is there a motion to approve the treasurer's report? So moved.
I'll make the motion.
All right, I'll second it. Okay, Todd will second the motion. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of approving the treasurer report as read, please say aye.
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 Those against?
Aye.
Motion is passed. Okay, approval of bills.
I have one bill today for Blaylock Walters for $287. And this is related to 1611 Michigan.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Russell seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the bill of $287 to Blaylock Walters, please say aye.
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 Those against, please say nay. Motion is passed. Okay, the informational reports from the trustees. Louis, you want to start us?
With the hurricane, done some more lawn commitments and research about what to do about some unsightly properties and proceeding with letters from the park and possibly contacting county on a couple of properties. About it for me.
Okay. Pete.
I guess it's not a report, but I'd like to thank the board and everyone who filled in for me while I was gone. I know I was AWOL for 6 months and I did nothing. And I especially want to thank Kathy for setting a new standard for continuous rec. I mean, and those who helped her. I know it took a lot of volunteers too. And again, I was absent and I really appreciate it. And I just enjoyed the other night just being at the beach with everyone. So thank you. And I'd like to mention that I have 2 more coffee breaks and then my term will be over.
Don't forget your one dance.
And
Huh?
dance.
Don't forget your
And one dance.
We're gonna hold your feet to that.
You were ready for that, weren't you?
You don't know how ready.
Yeah, but the first coffee break of the season will be November the 19th. And the presentation, I arranged this through Mark Barnaby. I call it to young guys who haven't had much of an opportunity. It's an association who works to give them an opportunity to improve themselves and to become productive citizens in the community or in society itself. And they will be, some of them will be here to do a presentation to let us know what they do, what their accomplishments are, and what their goals are. So as many people as we can have there would be appreciated. That's it.
Great. Russell?
Thanks, Pete. Glad to have you back. And don't worry, we already have volunteers for the dance, but
I thought you'd take up a collection.
we were doing that pair by pair. The north side is looking pretty good. It's really nice. And I want to thank all the people who helped each other and the people who reached out to help everybody, their neighbors and everybody to pick up, clean up and to assist them in securing their property, especially securing their property before the hurricane. A lot of people left stuff laying out that could affect other people. So that was very nice of the people to step up and clear their neighbor's property so it would be on their property. There, like Lewis said, there are some letters that have been written out. We've given pretty good leniency on getting the yards finished and cleaned up. The north side's improved considerably. The south side's being worked on more than the north, but that's okay because that's how it gets started. But there is a little bit, I want to ask people to please, golf carts aren't allowed on Florida Boulevard. That's not a golf cart road. It's not a golf cart friendly area. We have areas that are assigned to assist you in getting across the street without getting killed, and that's the red light. So please, everybody, that there's a lot of new people in the park. If you don't mind talking to your neighbor and letting them know about the golf carts, just talk to your neighbor and let them know a lot of things that the park does that would be very beneficial to them as newcomers. We also, it's nice that everybody is bringing their animals to the park and everything. The animals are great, but please turn in your paperwork that goes along with those animals. It's a hard job for the trustees of the north and the south to regulate your animals or who has them. But if you turn in your paperwork, you don't have a problem. All of these things I'm pretty much talking about with the animals, the yards and all that. There is a fining system in progress, which Lou and I have not started doing it, and any of the trustees can do it also. We'd prefer to verbally talk to you before any fines are set for anything, just to be courteous and nice. So all of the stuff we talk about, keep in mind, whether it be the pool, whether it be people down at the beach, anything like that. There is a fining system in order, but one of us has to be contacted in order to do that. And most of the time it's a verbal warning first, then a letter along with the fine. So things don't happen as quick as what you'd like. You don't just run down and throw people out of the pool. So we have to keep in mind the procedures that we have to follow to do things. That's it. Thank you.
Great. Mary?
Working on getting the books ready for the next fiscal year audit. Follow up on club accounts using the district's tax ID number. I still have a number of accounts that I know are still continuing to use the tax ID number that we haven't received any information from as far as what their plans are to get a new checking account. And I understand that the people that do it may be people that aren't coming back until November or December. So I'll continue to keep that list and continue to follow up. I think I shared at the October 3rd meeting that Regions Bank does have a checking account for clubs. You will have to get a federal tax ID number, which is pretty simple process. But you don't have to register on SunBiz, which is what a lot of the other banks are saying. They don't require it. So I would encourage people to contact I go to the branch on Cortez, but I'm sure there's other branches, but Regions does have a product that can work. And I'll continue to monitor those accounts to make sure that they get closed and new accounts are established. Probably do another letter to those that I haven't heard from, that I know for a fact haven't been closed. So that will be going out. I want to remind people that can vote in the November 8th general election about the referendum question for Cedar Hammock Fire Control District. And my plea that you please vote yes on that question to allow Cedar Hammock to open their boundaries and include trailer estates. And that's very important. And I would love nothing more than to send a really positive message to them that we appreciate what they do for us by voting yes on that question. So just a reminder to that.
And would you remind them all too that there is no charge for 2023?
Yes, right now we are not in their boundaries. They cannot assess us for 2023. When you get your tax bill next month, there will be no assessment there for fire rescue protection. So they are going to be doing what they've done so well since we called upon them to help us out for free. So it's really, please show them how much you appreciate that. They're also having an open house on the 22nd. I talked about that on the 3rd and I didn't bring the flyer with me. But on the 22nd, they're having an open house and I really encourage you to go there and see. They're a class act. The chief there, Chief Hoyle, is retiring, which is disappointing because he is fantastic. But the new chief, Chief Bradshaw, is phenomenal as well. So just want to encourage people to do that as well.
Anything else?
Nope.
Todd?
Where do I start? All right, guys have been working really hard to repair the hurricane damage and there's still more to go. We're waiting on the adjuster to come in. It's the 19th, I believe it is.
He will be here on the 19th. Yep.
So then we'll find out what we're gonna get and what money we get to finish the repairs. So there's plenty of that ongoing. Dumpsters. Okay, this is your park, people, and please quit throwing trash in there when the signs are turned around. It's starting to get a little bit ridiculous. It's even worse now, and I understand because of the hurricane, you got a lot of extra trash. You can put it out in front of your house on Thursdays right now, and I really don't want to see the guys climbing up in there to pull your trash out so they can throw it in the next dumpster. So please, think about that. It cost every one of you money to do that. So we'll go ahead and move on, but please just respect the dumpsters. I mean, it's pretty simple.
One thing with if you have storm damage, there's a procedure. You have to have certain piles. Your garbage is in one, then the metal's in another, and the other type of the brush debris have to be separate. So when the county comes through, they will pick that up instead of just leaving it there.
Right. And then the brush pile that we had in the temporary parking down here, we're gonna shut that off now. So throw all your brush back in the dumpsters, the marked yard waste. And it's yard waste, not extra trash. If the other one's full, don't throw your trash in that one. Because we had a lot of that going on also. And our guys, our quality maintenance team has to jump in there and dig that stuff out. Please don't do that. Okay, the seawall project has started. They have not done a whole lot of work down there yet, but what they have is already revealed our problems are as bad, if not worse, than what we anticipated. Bill's got a couple pictures up here where they're cutting into it. And you can see there, they're cutting in and they're driving manta ray anchors in is what they're doing right there. And that's what secures the seawall and keeps the top of it from tipping out. But what I want you to look at is underneath the concrete that's there. See that void that's in there? That whole area under that concrete is hollow. Okay. And that's where all the dirt is washed out under the seawall and in. It's very dangerous and very glad that we're getting this repaired because it could be, catastrophe there. So it's a good thing we're getting this done now. And the other thing I want to ask is I had to run 2 people out of there this weekend. We got barrier fences up. Please don't go around the barrier fences. Stay out of there. It is a very dangerous area. We do not need people in there and getting hurt. So please stay out of the area. And I am going to have them rope it off a little bit farther than what they've got now. I didn't really think we'd have to go out into the water, but apparently we have to go out into the water just to keep people out of there. So please don't go up in the construction area. We don't want to see anybody getting hurt. And I'm going to talk to Chris today. He's the foreman down there and see what we got to do to get back on schedule because we're about 2 weeks behind because of this hurricane. So, but so far so good. It's actually going.
Great, thank you. Kathy?
Good morning, everybody. Before we leave summer, I just wanted to give a recap of what we accomplished this summer. We received $820 in donations to cover all the summer activities. So I want to thank again the woodshop, Cook's Night Out, pickleball, and the 4 residents. One resident particularly funded the last cookout. Through all the donations, we had a cookout on June 14th. We had an ice cream social and trivia game on July 21st. Another cookout on September 15th. And then the money also funded popcorn for movie nights, ice cream for movie nights and bingo. And then we had cookies and lots of refreshments for the various concerts. So we ate a lot this summer. We really did. I know when you look at it, we really did eat a whole lot this summer. There were 2 concerts, a Magic Community Concert Band, which was free, but we took donations for them. And the Kelly Broadway Trio was also free, and then we also took donations for them. And by the end of September, we showed 11 movies. So we really did use the movie licensing this year. I mean, we really did. So I want to thank everybody for supporting the activities. Whoever does this next year, please keep this up because it was a good summer. So thank you all for all your support and for showing up. It was fun. This month, we had the hot dog lunch on 10/16, and I want to give a huge shout out to Cook's Night Out. This was a shared effort between Cook's Night Out and Seasonal Rec for putting this on. And then we had the beach party Friday night. So if you didn't go, you missed it. I was really overwhelmed by how many folks showed up to help. Rod, thank you for the tents. That was wonderful. For coming in early to help do it, to stay, to help clean it up. I thank the trustees for coming out and doing all that work. It was just a blast. We may do it again. So thank you all so much. The final Thursday movie night is this Thursday. It will be the last Thursday movie night for the season. So now looking ahead to November, believe it or not, seasons picks up in November. We're going to have a Saturday night movie on Saturday, November 5th. It's a Saturday night movie, 7 o'clock in the large hall. It'll be a recent movie. I can't give the name of it, give a license, but you will not be disappointed. Lots of planes flying, and all that stuff and lots of noise. So, and I would like to also encourage individuals to bring, if they can, a canned goods or box goods to support the food bank. The barrel is right at the back of a large hall. We'll make sure that we can take your items. We'll also do this for the Christmas party, but a lot of folks in our community are really in need. So if you can do it and bring some items that are not expired, by the way, canned goods or box goods, please bring in that night if you come to movie night. The Saturday night dances begin on November 12th. The schedule is on the bulletin boards, and I'll put them on 732. They'll be in the Tribune. I really need volunteers helping in movie nights, for the dances. Last year, we had clubs and groups that volunteered, adopted a dance, so we'll do that again. At the dance Saturday night, I will be there to sign up anybody that would like to come in to adopt a dance. Pickleball is doing the sock hop in January, and shuffleboard's doing a dance in November. Everything else is wide open. You pick a dance, you come in, you do the door, and then you clean up afterwards. So you have time to have fun between the beginning and the end. So the more people that show up, the less time I have to beg for help. So please consider adopting a dance. That would be lovely. Now I have a question for the board. I need to start selling New Year's Eve tickets, believe it or not. And I know in the past we've had a different price for residents and non-residents. I would like to have the same amount, $10. Because I really, Bill and I have talked about how to do the New Year's Eve dance. And for this dance, I would like individuals to be able to say where they're going to sit. So they're going to maybe buy a table or buy where they're going to go. And that way you'll have your party at your table. So you would sign up, and Bill and I have been working on this. We think we have it all figured out. But I want to start selling tickets at the dances in November if possible. This is open to the public as well as to our residents. But I'd like to get your say-so about the price of the tickets. Anybody?
Traditionally, Kathy, we've offered those tickets to residents. We've had a period of time where residents could purchase the
Okay.
tickets. And then
Okay.
after that time has gone by, then we open them out to the
Okay.
outside people.
Okay.
So I would hope that we would
Sure.
do that as well. You know, for
Sure.
this many days, it's resident only purchase.
Well, that's fine.
Um,
I'm just trying to get this done early because, November is just right around the corner.
Yeah.
And I, don't want to have to keep selling tickets. I would love to have it sold out so that that's it. So residents get the first.
I think that's what traditionally has happened. There's
That's fine.
been a window of time where the tickets were offered to residents.
Okay.
And then after that time, they were open to
Okay.
non-residents. Can you help me with why you want to have the same fee, no matter if you're a resident or a
Because
non-resident?
this is the only thing that we charge the residents for. And so, I mean, we're never going to recoup the price that we spend on this, and I know that unless it's, I just make it easy, but we don't have to. I'm just trying to have it just $10 across the board. But it's up to you all. I mean, this is my first time doing this.
I'm sorry, I'm just the opposite. If you're charging the residents 10, I would charge the non-residents 15.
15.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I'm just
Yep.
trying to make it
Yep.
simple.
And that's not traditionally been an issue. I don't remember
I-
ever
I
hearing
don't
anybody
remember
having an
either.
issue with that.
That's
Um,
fine.
yeah.
I want to start selling the tickets as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
And this it is, so a lot of folks have go to the dances, start doing them in November.
Okay.
Okay, then that's fine.
Does
And,
the rest of the board agree with that?
Are you
Don't
okay
just-
with that?
Don't just
I mean,
go
I'm-
with me.
Okay.
I'll agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in case you haven't heard, we are not going to be doing Vegas night in February. I have contacted everybody who came to the 2 meetings, all the committee members, they all are aware of it. I even called Joe Salerno because he's coming back in January and I didn't want him to come here and then realize, oh, no Vegas night. So everybody has been called and I thank everybody for their willingness to do it. But for a lot of different reasons, we felt it just would not, the timing is just not right. So we have an opening on the schedule for February 9th. I'm open to suggestions from the residents. We may want to do another beach party happy hour. I don't know, it'd be a lot bigger. I don't know. So any ideas, let me know. I'm open to it. It just depends. That would free up the hall for somebody else to use it that night as well. We still have a large hall booked. So let me know what you'd like to do. And that's it.
Kathy,
Yes.
will you let me know, in writing when you're ready to free up the hall, cancel it? Right now, it's still held a reservation for you.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
I skipped
All
one
the effort.
thing in my, can I add one more thing? I skipped it.
Sure.
I wanted to give a big thanks to the Cooks Night Out ladies,
Mhm.
for the shirts that they donated to the
Oh,
maintenance
yeah.
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
So whenever you guys go and thank the maintenance guys for
Mhm.
keeping this park beautiful and doing all the hard work that they do, now you can see them, nice teal shirts. Thank
Mhm.
you again from Cooks Night Out,
Yeah.
ladies.
Great, thank you. Sandy? Unmute yourself, Sandy, if you have anything to report. Is she there?
She's gone.
Yeah,
Is that what
not
you
up
said?
there.
Oh, she's gone? Oh,
Okay.
Sandy, would you unmute your mic, please? Okay, hearing nothing. Lori, would you go ahead, please, while we get Sandy going?
Sure, I'm not gonna be a whole lot of help. I don't have anything to report. I do plan to be back in the park for the the first meeting in November.
Good, looking forward to seeing you. Sandy, are you there? Okay, I'll come back to her. I'll go ahead and give mine. I just want to do a bunch of follow-up subjects that we talked about at the October 3rd meeting. We were asked if Innovation Marine would be interested in using the firehouse. Is that right? Firehouse Fire Department.
We gotta find a name.
The building. I went down and talked to them and no, they are not interested. They just don't. They have more storage spaces over here behind the Holiday Inn than they could even use here. I also checked on the zoning for the fire department area that is zoned as an RSMH 6A1, which is nothing more than just residential mobile homes. So putting any type of a business down there is going to be quite difficult to get that zoning changed. We will have to look at that when we get into the workshop on just what we're going to try using that building for. I have sent letters out to all of the clubs and organizations for the bingo kitchen. I have asked for a email response by November 1st, so we can cover that in our November 7th meeting. Is that the right date? If not, it's the 6th,
Yeah,
somewhere.
I think that's right.
I'm sorry?
I said, yeah, I think that's right.
Good. So we'll be able to start assigning or doing the lottery for those clubs that are interested in using that kitchen. I also went over PP3. There was a couple of comments on not having enough time for the public comments. I also went around to the other Parks and Recreations as well as the Manatee County Board of Commissioners, and everything is 3 minutes. I thought PP3 was pretty well spelled out on just, you can have your public comments at the start of a board meeting, and you can also per topic, and you can also have the public comment at after the workshop. 3 minutes may not be long enough, but you're going to have to pick your best topic that you want to bring up. We can make those interactive. That is up to the board to do that. Any board member can ask the chair to make that an interactive. It then gets voted on. Then we can go back to the public and request that. So at this time, I'm not too willing to change the 3-minute rule. This is my personal. I'm getting very tired of 6-hour meetings, so I'd like to keep those to a minimum. I want to thank Dottie. She has provided me with the rental templates as what we discussed on renting out the various halls. I think Mary also got in some information that we'll be looking at in the workshop. And I was going to bring up the debriefing in the workshop, but I also found out that the CERT and Cedar Hammock are having a debriefing, and I'd like to have the maintenance crew there to see. One thing I'd like to have you take to that meeting, and I'm sorry, I'll have to get you the meeting date, but I'd like to have you take our PP20, the disaster plan. From what I've seen in it, the whole back half of it is the responsibilities of each trustee. Some of it I think is kind of useless because we don't have all the trustees here during the summer months. So we would have to revisit that and probably rewrite a section of that. But I think I'd like to hear how the generators were provided, how they set up, how they did their ham radios, how they coordinated back to the Emergency Operations Center. So if you would do that for me, Todd. Yes. Great. And I'm done with mine, so that works out fine. Sandy, would you please give your report?
I am. Good morning from snowy Wisconsin. I will be with you at the next board meeting. Thank goodness. I would like to thank the residents that are keeping me posted this summer through the news of the people that are passing, also with Betty Bell and all of her assistance, and she has given me. It's been wonderful. And I know I always say this again and again, but please donate blood wherever you can, whenever you can. I also plan on implementing some programs this coming year to help assist the residents with additional health protection in various ways that might be possible to have, so we could have some meetings about that. That's all I have. Thank you.
Sandy, do we have a blood
Drive?
bus
Mobile.
Do we have the red mobile coming in here? Is there a date set on?
Yes.
Blood?
I would have to, I don't have my calendar in front of me. I would have to check it, but I know we do. We have
Okay.
2 of them a year at our place, at Trailer Estate.
Okay, good.
One in the fall, and one in the spring.
All right. Anything else? Thank you, board. I'd like to have the reports from the standing committees, Treasure Barn.
Barb Sewell, 6608 Dakota Street. I think everything is going around pretty good. I've got the numbers that you want. I'll just give you the main number, and if you want more detail, I got that too. We've made $2,465 since we opened. My most favorite was the grand opening. No, we made over $1,000 that day. It was hard work, but it paid off. I just wanted to thank Kathy, and I think she's got get some help for setting up and taking down. I think she's responsible for that. And our quality maintenance department has done wonders for us. So I'm thanking for all of that. We didn't have a meeting because we didn't have any quorum last month. We'll hopefully we'll be together enough to do that. Also, I didn't know we have to do this to ask you guys if we can get some more hand trucks, because we're having to lift an awful lot of things. I'd like to get 3 more, and they're in the process about $60 or so. So, okay. I think that's about all I got. If anybody got questions for me, that's fine.
I just have one. When you cancel a meeting, is it getting posted throughout the facility?
I think it was posted on the doorcast, right? Yeah.
Okay, great. And
If
then
you-
the hand trucks, I thought you already had 4 of them down.
We have
there.
6 of them,
6 of them.
but they're completely full and they're having to do it by hand. And I don't like to see the women pick up those heavy things and put them on a table. I like them to be on there so that they can drive them in and drive them out. We actually have 6 of them. And then last time we did it, we had to stop and put air in the tires because one was so bad. And I could see that it's all falling apart, so.
Overloaded.
Well, that could be too, yeah.
Can you, with the dollies that you can
Yeah,
lay
yeah.
down or stand up?
Yes,
is
the ones that are
type of-
laying down so you can put buckets on top of them with our, because I don't think we've ever had as much inventory as we have right now. It's just overwhelming. Oh, the other thing I'd like to ask is, if I get a chance to sell something and it's not on a date when we're having sales, like, I'm going over to get this, sofa this afternoon, and if somebody finds it on the truck and wants to buy it right then, is that okay? Or do I have to wait for a meeting time?
Personally,
Yes?
no. I would rather have it at the barn,
Okay,
Treasure Barn, because that is not giving the opportunity for the rest of the residents, and it's just,
okay.
in the past, when I've worked down there, I seen stuff disappear, and I was
All right.
totally against that,
On
so,
specific days is all then.
yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
It'd be
That
good for
answered
your
that.
safety also.
yep,
That's it.
thank you.
All right, Dwayne, do we need to approve those 3 more hand trucks?
I would ask Barbara to get with maintenance to see just what's in the budget availability. And then if there's not, then I would bring it back to the next meeting for the approval.
That wouldn't come out of the treasure barn account?
That's what I was
It
saying.
could,
Yeah. Yeah, it's because we're not talking about, they're just the ones that we roll out, but because we have so many tubs in the hall, we have more tubs than we have rolling carts. And it's just that, and I think they're about $60, so they're not that much money, but they would come out of treasury.
help me with the
They can,
budgeting. I'm not,
they can come out of the treasure barn account, but I mean, if they're an item that it's going to be an asset of the park. And, you know, if
I see.
maintenance wanted to use them at all. I mean,
Right,
I
but
would
what-
think it would be.
Bill will
Yeah.
buy them and then I'll just code it, or he'll code it to maintenance, or excuse me, not to maintenance.
To
but
the treasure barn,
barn.
yeah.
and I'll
Yeah.
approve it.
Yep, and then we'll add it
to.
to our asset inventory because I do have to.
I say just get them.
Okay, all right.
okay.
Well, it's $60
thank
you
you.
probably don't need to. But
Does that satisfy it, Lori?
Yeah, the board supports getting them. That's all we needed in the minutes so that Barb's covered when she winds up with 3 more hand trucks.
Okay. All right, we have no old business. Moving on to new business. The only thing we have is the employee handbook, which is myself. This is the final. We've pretty much gone over this 4 or 5 times. I'm getting tired of killing trees on printing this thing. I can't read the motion. Did somebody make the motion?
You want me to read it, Dwayne?
Please.
Okay. I make a motion to approve the employee handbook as discussed and changed in the workshop of 10/3/22.
Is there a second?
I'll second that, it's Mary.
Is there any discussion? And I will say that I did make all the changes that was discussed at that last meeting. They have been inserted in there, so that's taken care of. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the motion as read, please say aye.
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 Those against, nay. The motion is approved. Okay, can I have the reports from the clubs and organizations, please?
Better put her on 3 minutes.
Arlene McAllister, 6614 California Street for Cook's Night Out. I just looked at the calendar and thought I better report that November 5th, because November is upon us, will be the Cook's Night Out breakfast. We'll start ticket sales next week, so be watching on 732 about those times. It will be having breakfast casserole, biscuits and gravy, fruit. It's a great time. I know it's early for a lot of people to get up, but please attend and help us make up the money that we lost by canceling our October dinner, which we were disappointed to do, but we were glad because we were worried about finding enough food, especially chicken breasts, so after the hurricane. So just wanted to report that again. It's November 5th. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Are there any other clubs or organizations that would like to make a report?
Dwayne, this is Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon.
Hey, I'd like to report on the Veterans Club and the Veterans Day planning that's going on. As I mentioned before, we've had started planning meetings. The next one is October 28th at 10:30 a.m. in the Pelican Room in the Activities Building. I'd invite everyone that's interested in helping out with it to attend. And I'd also like to have contact from any veterans who are willing to participate in presenting the flags, the branch of service flags, as well as the American flag on Memorial Day. On Veterans Day, rather, get my holidays mixed up. The final planning meeting will be November 4th, also at 10:30 in the Activities Building, Pelican Room. And we will be contacting those veterans that we are aware of in the park or have contact information for to also ask them directly if they will be willing to participate in some way. And I invite everyone to plan to attend the Veterans Day ceremony at 10:45, which will be preceded by POW flag raising at the flagpole by the office. So stay tuned for the specifics of that. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other reports from clubs and organizations? Did somebody just say ugh? Okay, hearing no other reports from clubs and organizations, I will adjourn the October 17th board meeting at
There you go.
10:42.
I knew you couldn't see that.
Well, I can't tell time. And if it's all right with the board members, I'd like to take a 5-minute recess because we have quite a list of topics to discuss during the workshop. With that, we'll take a 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Everybody's on a tinkle break, right?
Yeah, 5 minutes. 5 minutes, they said. I spent 5 minutes.
Done with your coffee cup or no? You're done with it, okay. I'll rinse them out and put some water in.
I want you to think you had to go.
No, I would expect.
Okay.
We all set? Okay, I call to order the Board of Trustees workshop for October 17th at, I can't see,
10:52.
10:52 a.m. here in Marks Hall. Okay, are there any additional items that need to be added to the workshop from the trustees?
I've been asked about the food barrel. I'd like to ask a question about the food barrel if possible. Quick question, we're just making
Is
this.
that Russell's voice?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I have two items that I'd like to add. One would be the deed restriction section 12 and the program manager's position.
Section.
Yep.
Okay. I have a couple I need to add.
Is it park manager, Dwayne?
Yes.
Yes.
Or who? Okay, I didn't know if we had something else going on. Thank you.
Okay, this is Mary. I want to add the renting of our recreational halls. I did have some information I passed out. Not gonna take long. The
Okay, I thought
renewal-
we were gonna hold off doing that while I was in person. That's okay.
It's a 3-second comment I want to make about it, Lori. It's not gonna-
Okay. That's fine. No worries.
renewing the contract with Malden and Jenkins as our financial auditor. And the current lease we have with Innovations for our marine building.
Can I just put it as marine lease?
Sure.
Thank you.
Are there any other items? Hearing none, we'll start off with the first one with the recurring item for the referendum question of 12-6.
Yep. I just want to remind people again that on the ballot for the December 6th election here, not only will we be voting for trustees, but there will be a referendum question on there. And it's related to making a small change to our district charter and the way we set the timetable for budgeting and setting the assessments to allow it to take place when everybody is here to participate, if they choose to do so. The current statutes that are in there now have us completing that in September, which to me doesn't make any sense considering the population of our district. So I'm hoping everybody will vote yes on that. It is going to be in the November and December Tribune as another reminder. There's posters around the park. And Lori, I still owe you the blurb on the front page of the website, but I'm hoping that you can just kind of pull something from this to put there. If this doesn't work, I'll try to get you something. Every time I
Well,
look.
what's this?
Oh. It
Well,
just-
you're saying pull something from this conversation, or were you
No,
gonna send me the
there's an
flyer?
attachment, there's an attachment to my agenda item that shows what's going to be going in the Tribune and what's going on the bulletin boards.
You gotta email that to me, because I didn't get any attachments. I mean, I got items 1 through 7. Oh, hey, wait, just a second, I'm a dork. I apologize. I've lost my mind.
Okay.
Let me take a quick look at it. Because I did get it, I'm a dork.
That's all right.
All right, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I should be able to do something with that. No worries.
I appreciate it.
Mary, should we remind residents that there's 2 different referendums going on? One in November for Cedar Hammock and one in December for our charter, and that both of them are extremely important, but they're 2 separate. So just because you vote on the referendum in November for Cedar Hammock doesn't mean all the referendum voting is done.
Yeah, I mentioned with my trustee update, the importance of answering that referendum question in November and supporting Cedar Hammock. And so now I'm talking about the one in December. So yeah, definitely. There are people here that are going to get to vote in both, and I need them to vote yes to both referendum questions for sure.
Great. And I just want to make sure that got out there.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, anything else?
No.
We'll move to item 2, which is the, is it reoccurring or recurring?
It's spelled wrong.
Recurring.
Okay, the firehouse use building discussion, Todd?
Okay, well, last time we were going to discuss it, and I got you, sent you the email with the square footage.
Yep.
All that.
52.
And then Mary also added to that. Oh, she's got it on the next one.
Yeah, you can combine them
Yeah,
together.
combine those 2, the cost of the building. So, and then you added in your comments about how we can't basically rent it to anybody at this point without changing
Mhm.
the zoning.
Right.
So I guess, I mean, what I lobbied for, back to a maintenance shop, but I'm still entertaining other things, you know,
Yeah,
looking for your opinions.
Yeah, we're very limited to what we can use the building for because of the zoning. And if we put anything in there other than maintenance, it has to be something that's used by the residents only. It can't be open to the public. So if anybody's got any great ideas other than maintenance for that building.
It could be turned into another large, another hall or
Yeah.
something too. I mean, there's lots of options we could do with it,
Sure.
but what are we entertaining? I'd love to have it for a maintenance shop. I think it'll work perfect for a maintenance shop.
Todd?
Yeah.
If we move, we would be thinking, in your world, perfect world, we would move all of maintenance over to the former fire station, and then.
Oh, lost you. I'm sure she's talking.
And just like that, she went into a black hole.
The story of Lori's life.
I think.
I'm sorry, what?
We lost you,
Yeah.
Lori, when you started talking.
Am I here now?
You're there.
Okay, well, all I was asking was, if we, in a perfect world, we move maintenance, all of maintenance over to the former fire station, what becomes of that building? What's the plans with that building?
That's
Can
another
we
discussion.
expand? Okay, whole nother discussion. All right. Step one is get maintenance moved.
Correct.
If that's good, all right.
The current building that they're in, this is the building that we would be going to is about 1,000 square feet more, which if you look in their maintenance shop on how things are crammed in there, it's going to be a lot more efficient for them. So, I mean, they would be gaining 1,000 square feet basically, roughly. And then, this other building is more central to everything down there. So there should be other uses that could be done with that. As to what?
I would. Yeah, I would support that, Todd, no problem.
I have a question that's probably already been answered several times, but what happens to the treasure barn?
They're still there.
They're still there.
They're going to stay right where they're at,
Oh, okay,
doing what they're doing now.
okay.
Being the money gal.
Yep.
I'm supporting maintenance going there, but not understanding the zoning and the restrictions for the building. We built an income projection into the budget for that building. So we need to think about how we're going to make up for that income loss no matter what we do. So, I mean, I'm constantly looking for ways to save money, but
I have run 3 boat slips to outsiders like recently.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a little extra.
That helps. But yeah, just to keep it in the back of your mind, that's, we're all automatically going to have an income shortfall
How
due to
much?
$18,000 I budgeted for income, $1,500 a month.
But without maintenance, since maintenance would be in there, that gets rid of that. But what kind of other liability or insurance do we have to have with maintenance in that building? That we have on our
Right
building?
now, the monthly cost to maintain that building, no matter who's in there, is about $1,300. So we've got the light bill, the water bill, the liability insurance, and maintenance costs are just minimal. That's just for any incidental things that might need to be repaired there. That's very small. That total adds up to just shy of $1,300 a month. So we've got those expenses that are, the utility expenses are already in the budget. Okay, all of these expenses, this $1,300 a month is in the budget, but we were offsetting them with some income that we now are not going to have to offset them. So we do need to think about options that we might have to create to fix that gap, Lou.
Was there a discussion of using the upstairs of that building for storage for our records
Yes.
and eliminating their rental at the airport?
I'm already working on that. Basically once we get 732 secured and to where we don't have any outside people, I shouldn't say outside people, we don't have any of the residents that work on things that go into 732 without keys. My intent is to use the 732 room as a storage for that.
Make that our airport storage.
Right.
Okay.
And that'll eliminate that lease over there.
Which would be climate
800 a
control.
year.
It's like 1,300 a year.
Yeah.
Well, 13.
Mhm.
I thought, no.
Oh, we
I
got 1
remember
month's
8.
expenses taken care of,
Yeah.
11 down, 1 down,
Uh,
11 to go.
I do want to bring up a situation. The owner of the mall up here on the east side of the park has raised the rate for, I think, just about everybody that is leasing the building. We had the opportunity to take the, I think it's Sandy's used furniture. We jumped on that, had him come down and take a look at it. And that's when we found out the zoning was RSMH, which is residential single homes, which threw him right out the door. So we thought we had a good idea coming in there, but that fell right through the floor. What I would suggest, and I'm still would like to postpone and have this recurring for the fire, the maintenance go to the fire department. But if we're going to do that, I'd like to see one of the other comments that was on Facebook, that we utilize part of the old maintenance building. What the hell is that?
It's a ring, it's a phone ring.
Donnie.
It's your phone ring.
Oh, how funny.
And that's one of the things I keep forgetting to bring up. Please shut your phone off at the start of the meeting. Anyway, getting back to that, if some of the comments was from Sandy's is he stores a lot of the residents'
Mhm.
golf carts. We might be able to pick that up and use it for the old maintenance building.
Right.
Oh, and charge
Just,
people
you know,
to store
just
their golf
charge them,
carts.
because what do you have? Almost 60-70% of the residents depart. I don't know how many.
That was
golf carts.
gonna be one of my
Wow, that's a great
suggestions
idea.
to do that
So,
actually,
let-
or other storage areas.
If we can, I'd like to hold that item over one more time just to see if we have any other items that might be
That's fine.
money makers for the park.
How many square feet is our old maintenance shop?
3,200, I think it is. It's
32.
40 by 80, so it'd be 3,200.
Yeah.
And it's chopped up in there a little bit with the walls, but that's easily
Easily
addressed.
taken care of. Okay, anything else with that, Todd?
No, I guess that's good. We'll bring it back next week and I'll try to spell it properly this time.
At me, I still can't. Okay, and we pretty much covered the cost of the
Yeah, that
operation,
was.
so that's done. The fish house repair discussions, Todd?
Okay, as you all know, our fish house, fish cleaning house, it should be actually even, was heavily damaged in the hurricane. I called 14 different places to get quotes. I had 2 of them return my calls. Actually, I had 4 of them return my calls. 2 of them said, we ain't even gonna think about touching it. And 2 of them gave me quotes. May Custom Homes out of Tampa quoted it. They quoted it at $9,617 to replace it. And then Total Aluminum quoted it. And I didn't understand it because they quoted me $14,000 on the phone, but then when I got the actual quote, it was $18,967
Oh,
to replace it.
that a Taj Mahal?
That's double the cost of the other one.
Almost, yes. Well, yeah, almost. So I didn't understand that. So I did some checking, and this May Custom Homes is a pretty reputable company, and everything, everything I've seen on them looked pretty good. I've never dealt with them before, but there's 2 other places in the park that are getting replaced by them, and they come in about the same percentage under of the other ones. So not sure exactly how they're doing it, but my suggestion would be to go with them, but I could not get a third quote. Nobody else would talk.
Are
Well,
they doing apples to apples?
Yeah, it's identical.
If it's a true steam adjuster, he may be able to write an estimate on it also.
Who?
The guy that comes
The
on
adjuster
Wednesday.
who will be
Yep.
coming out,
The
their
insurance.
storm
Right,
adjuster.
he's coming out on the 19th, then,
Yep.
so
Yep.
yeah, we'll go
Well,
with him, but
what I do want to say though, is you have received your 3 bids.
I have not got a third bid
No,
because
no. You put it out for bid. You actually received 2 bids and the rest of them are no bids. That is considered
okay,
a part of the quote.
okay.
So you've satisfied the requirement of you going out and getting the solicitations. One of the things that I'm still having a question on is previously we've heard that the county will not let us rebuild the fish house. Has anybody gone back to the county to find out if that's actually the truth or if that is just what I was told a year and a half ago?
I personally did not talk to the county. Total Aluminum said they did talk to the county. We can rebuild. So
Okay.
I will confirm that by calling the county myself.
Okay. And then another idea I had is instead of rebuilding where the existing fish house was, do we really have to have an enclosed fence, electric and all that, or can on the curb going out on the seawall going out the canal, can we just put a small fish cleaning station there and skip the $9 grand?
There was other options too, because I looked at if we could not rebuild it, we could turn that into a slip right there where we're at.
Yep.
And then another option would be like up in the grass area on the American Way right there. just to put a small one right up in there. So there are other options that we can do.
I guess I'd like to have those prices in there so we can just make a comparison and have the board make a decision on that.
And can we move stuff
I
over?
have a question.
Go ahead, Lori. And into the black hole she went. Lori, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, you just
Um,
popped off again.
It's my service up here. Sorry about that. In a previous meeting, we had authorized like 32,000 to fix the fish house, and now it can be replaced for 9,600. I'm confused.
All right, let me explain what the 32,000 was, okay? All right, so
Okay.
the decking underneath the fish house is what we were repairing there. The support beams and all that. That's what needs to be repaired. The fish house was just gonna basically get jacked up and then the floor was gonna get repaired. And then all the decking
Gotcha.
boards were gonna get replaced down the decks and the docks and all that. So does that help?
Okay.
Just make it clear?
Yeah, it does. There's more in it than just the fish house. The 32,000 was the underside of it and the supports. Okay.
Correct. And
So we're
this,
still gonna,
the quotes I gave you now are for the aluminum structure that's sitting on that. That is
gotcha.
no longer there.
Okay.
So are the board, is the decking still getting replaced?
Yes,
By
well,
our guys though, right?
yes, but if we're not gonna build it right there, then we don't need to do that. So we would,
Turn that into slips.
Yeah. My question is the quotes, how did you specify it? Did you say rebuild a 20 by 35?
12, a
Whatever it
12,
is.
it's 12 foot wide, 20 foot long,
Mhm,
8 foot high,
mhm.
peaked, screened in room.
So still using the same pilings and all that.
All that, everything that's still there basically would get replaced underneath. Basically, the decking and all that stuff will get replaced. And then a new aluminum structure that's 12 by 20,
Okay,
just like it was, single door, identical to what was there.
okay.
That's what these quotes here specify.
So there's reason to think that they were quoting the same thing. You line them up the same way.
They were quoting exactly what was there.
Well, one thing, it'll be easier to jack up the
It'll be
floor.
easier to do the work, but
Especially with their good little rowboat that they were donated.
the other side of this is we do need to be getting on that. And if we're gonna be doing the repairs on it, because it's wide open out there. It's a dock anyways, but there's holes in the dock and stuff, so we really need to know the direction we're going here pretty quick. We're gonna redo what we got, or we need to stop on that and just turn into a boat slip.
Can we use the corner of the marina? That's going where the marina building is and everything. Is that a usable corner other than putting the cleaning house in front of everybody's view and everything in the grass? How would we go about setting that up to where the remains could be pushed off in the water and so forth like that? If we were to put it on the corner there.
I don't know about the American way on the grass, how that would happen.
You
but
can-
on the corner going out, that's possible to do that.
So what will
To
we
put the
do?
drain
Just build it
tubes.
out there?
Mhm.
You could do it either way. We just, especially since we're doing the seawall right now, you could do a PVC chute right out through the seawall. But it wouldn't be a big deal either way. You could
So
do it
over there
either
on that
place.
corner would give us a new fish out cleaning station. They could have easily accessible to handicap and everything right there, because that's where the handicap comes down. And then we would still seek a permit to build down there, but then we could make the revenue off the spaces that we would lease.
You got room for
Offices.
one more slip there. If we took that out, you'd have one more, I guess those are 20-foot slips right there. So you'd have room
Yeah,
for
would
one
only
more
be the
20-foot
width,
slip.
because you've got 2 30-footers on both sides of it.
Right.
You know,
So you only got room for one more slip. So
So that's
that's,
just one slip.
$600 a year,
Yeah,
or if an outsider, 16.
right. So that's not a benefit. The one slip's not a major benefit, but it is something.
My choice would probably be to put it back where it's at and
Mhm.
just continue the way it was, because that was really a pretty nice cleaning station.
The a lot of that depends on the county though.
Correct. I'll
Can,
confirm
can
that
we
with the
rebuild?
county.
Right.
Hopefully this week. They haven't been real good about getting a hold of them either. I might have to even make a trip up there to get the answer.
Well, I think that's the big next step. We need to make sure no matter what we decide to do, we can do it. Whether it's
Do we-
rebuilding it where it is now or moving it to the canal. We need, both can be done by the county and then,
Yeah, even our pre-existing one.
yeah. And if you do it going out, it will be a smaller, less expensive unit than if we build it where it is today.
And it doesn't have to be covered.
I think it should be covered. You need, you've been on a boat all day long out there in that hot sun already, then come back to clean fish. I think it needs to be covered.
That's what beer's for. Sorry.
Okay, so are we at a point where we're ready to have Todd find his answers and bring this back as a motion at the next board meeting? Or is Todd bringing it back and workshopping it again and delaying it yet another 2 weeks?
My preference is to go ahead and have him come back as a motion, depending on what the county says.
All right, so if,
I'm the opposite.
Okay.
I think it needs to be workshopped again. I want to know that the county has approved both places. I want to know how much it's going to cost for rebuilding option A and how much it's going to cost to rebuild option B. Because we just got done saying I'm looking for income here. And if we
Yeah.
can build option B and save ourselves some money, and even if it's only $600, I mean, this all adds up when we start
Yeah,
making these
because
changes.
when you look at it, we're looking at $41,000.
So I really, and if we're not gonna need to do as much with the decking, that's gonna save some of that, I need option A and option B
okay,
personally.
I'm all right bringing it back to the
Personally.
workshop.
Okay,
Okay.
all right.
But what do you mean $41,000?
Well, you 32 for the repair of the lifting it and support beams and pylons and
That's
that.
already all been spent and already set in there. So that part of it's already here and done. It's not, the work isn't done, but the materials are already here.
Oh, so, well,
And
again,
purchased.
we spent, I don't know how much money you spent for the materials and stuff. So you take that plus
28,000.
Yep.
the additional 10 grand for the top of it,
Right.
40,000. So
Now, whether we rebuild it where it exists today, or whether we build it in another location, there still is a possibility we're gonna get some insurance money
Yes,
for that, because that was insured.
yes.
So I think there's still too many loose ends here
I
for me
agree.
to make a
I'll bring it back to
decision.
the workshop
Thank
next time and I'll have those other answers for sure.
We already have the insurance adjuster.
He's
price for
coming
that.
Wednesday.
Wednesday.
We'll
Okay.
find out what his assessment is of what it's eligible for. So we'll have a lot more information next board meeting than
Yep.
we do today.
Okay. Next item we had then was the approval to open business credit cards with Regions Bank.
We currently have credit cards for our maintenance and our office staff with First Horizon. In my effort to move all of our banking relationships to Region, I want to move the credit cards too. Regions will not allow me to open up a business credit card without minutes from a board meeting giving approval for that to happen. So this is just a formality. I need to get it on a workshop so I can bring it forward to the next meeting for approval. And once we approve it and I've got the meeting minutes, I can send it to Regions and we can open up the business account.
And
And
they
then
won't just accept a letter from the chair saying
Tried it,
it's approved.
tried it, sorry.
Okay, bring her back.
Yep.
One question with this too. Now, does this also include us being able to take credit cards at the office?
No, no,
That's a
that's
whole-
coming.
That's a whole nother discussion then.
that's-
Okay,
that's-
all right.
That's coming.
Okay.
Okay, with
On my
that,
to-do
I
list.
don't see any reason why Mary can't just bring this back for a motion at the next meeting.
Yep. Workshop, why couldn't we have taken it right straight to a motion?
We can't make, I don't think we can make
not a
decisions
board
without
meeting.
them being workshop for
Right.
part of the whole way we, yeah, I know.
That way you'll know what's going on before it comes to you for a vote.
That's part of the sunshine law. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. The next item we have is the late fees on rental income.
Yes. So, in preparing the books for the next financial audit, one of the things I had to do was reconcile accounts receivable. So I got knee deep into all of our invoices and ones that are paid, ones that, ones that haven't been paid. And what I came across was, fees are for boat slips and storage lots that are paid pretty much whenever anybody wants to pay them. Unfortunately, I had quite a number that are paid 2 or 3 months after the due date. And so I immediately went to the agreements that everybody signs to say what's in there, because I hadn't ever really gotten really into those. And what I found was that they have provisions in there for late fees if they're not paid within 15 days of the due date. We're just not doing it. Also in there, it talked about the invoicing for those, and a couple of them, it said the invoicing will take place 30 days prior. The slip rentals say our current lease agreement says invoices will be mailed 30 days prior. The reality is we do it 15 days prior. So we mail them out on the 15th of the month for the next month. So they have 2 weeks, depending on when they get it in the mail, plus another 2 weeks before it's considered late. I'm recommending that we consistently, with our invoicing for boat slips and storage lots and kayak rentals, invoice 30 days in advance. So on November 1st, PJ will be mailing out all of the invoices with a December due date. And then on December 15th, she would be looking at who's not paid, and she will be sending out a corrected invoice with a 10% late fee, plus the sales tax on that 10% late fee. We have to pay sales tax on that. And immediately be sending out another invoice for that. But I think we need to take it one step further. And I'm suggesting that we, on the 30-day mark, if they're still not paid in 30 days, that they get another 10% penalty. But at that point, depending on what it is, we take other action on it. If it's a storage lot fee, that item is locked and we start charging them storage. This is harsh. Okay, what I'm proposing is harsh. So I'm looking for recommendations, but I'm saying we charge them $100 a month for every month that stays there. And when you want it, you have to pay your storage fee of $100 a month plus your lease money that was due, and then we'll unlock it and you can take it away. Or if we have a place we can move it to, so would be ideal, so we could rent that space to somebody else. And when you've satisfied that you've paid your amount in due, you will go to the bottom of the list for another space. And when one becomes available, we'll give you another chance to come in.
How accurate is this $11,050 of people who haven't paid?
This is just the last fiscal year only. I only looked at 1 year, and I looked at when their invoice was due and when the payment was received. And if it was 15 days, I gave them just the 10%. If it was 30 days, I gave them the other 10%. And if it was 3 months, I gave them the $100, and that was the income. Now, hopefully, this is not income I suggest we count on. I don't want people paying late, even though it's an income generator for us. But it's kind of just draws attention to how late some of these payments have been. And we've just kind of allowed it to happen. And we need to start being more
active.
How secure do you feel our invoicing system is?
Mhm.
The office? Because I know I've had issues with invoices coming to me for my boat slips and
Yep. Yep.
so that's where I struggle with this. I don't get me wrong. I
No.
think late fees are needed
Yeah.
and good, but it's hard to assess late fees sometimes whenever, like I haven't got invoices and
Okay.
I've gotten the wrong invoices and I've gotten double invoices. So, I
Okay.
mean,
Yep. And I understand. In March, April, and May, there was a period there where we were putting in effect an increase in our 5% increases. This was last year. And invoices were sent out. And then the decision was made, we were going to postpone that till another date. She'd already mailed out the invoices. She mailed out adjusted invoices. People that are really diligent about paying their invoices on time and sometimes early paid the higher invoice. So this is what caused me to kind of like, what's going on here? Because I have a number of people here that have credit balances. Okay. So the next time you get your invoice, you're going to have a credit and it's going to be applied to that invoice and an additional amount due. So that may be why you got invoices that you paid that then found out weren't correct invoices. That shouldn't happen again. Okay. The people who have quarterly rentals, they've had quarterly rentals for years. They've got annual rentals. They've been with us for years. You know, you have some responsibility, I'm sorry, to know my rent is always due in April and I haven't gotten my invoice yet. I never got it in the mail, to me, is not a valid excuse for not paying it on time. You have some responsibility for that. And we haven't gotten returned mail. So if I've gotten returned mail, then, you know, we immediately get on that. So that's what we need to decide here. How strict do we want to be on, you have an agreement with us. We're going to invoice you 30 days in advance. You basically have 45 days from the day we mail the invoice to make your payment. And if you don't make your payment, there's going to be a late fee assessed for that.
Well,
And then how long are we going to let it go before we take additional action? Your thought.
if you would walk me through the process, if we're going to change the PP 22, that would have to be a new agreement with every boat owner for the following year. And are you going to invoice on their anniversary date of when they actually took the slip? So you're going to be doing it November, December, January, February, for all of that?
Right now, we do the 5% increase on the anniversary of when your slip or storage space becomes due. Right now, the current contract that they have with us when they took out the slip says that they'll be invoiced 30 days in advance and says they'll get a 10% late fee after 15 days. So that doesn't need to be changed. We just need to start doing what we said we were going to do. As far as doing an additional penalty or an additional charges, that would have to be, on their next anniversary date, we would have to send out a new contract, and they would have to either agree to that contract or not.
The only other part I have here is your last sentence. It says a storage fee of $100 per 30 days or the fraction thereof will be assessed until the full payment. But then we jump down and say, good Lord, you're going to, if they don't pay it, you're going to move them to somebody until that payment is received. But if you fill that slip with somebody else's boat, how does that person get back in? Or does he just go on a waiting?
Goes on a waiting
Go
list.
to the bottom of the waiting
You've
list.
gone
and
to the
start
bottom
all
of the
over.
waiting list.
So
They're evicted, basically.
Exactly.
Did I not read that in here?
So and like I said, the word, we can decide what we want to do, but if we have the ability to remove their boat from the boat slip and we have a place to put it so that we can re-rent that space to the next person. And then when they've satisfied, they go to the bottom of the list as far as when another slip opens up. So they've kind of lost their opportunity to rent a slip until it becomes available. And with the storage space, if we've got a place we can put their item so that we can rent that space.
We don't have any place to put any items, so.
We don't. So we need to make, because we're not getting any income from that space and we can't get income from anybody else, we need to compensate for that by making it costly for them to leave it there.
It would probably be
And
there
not
to impound them, basically.
Well, we
Call
do
them a
have
towing.
the authority to impound in the storage lot. If the individual doesn't have a trailer, to remove the boat. I don't know how that's gonna work.
Yes, I don't either. That's why.
Yeah, I don't
And
either.
there's certain pontoon boats that don't
Yeah.
have trailers.
I mean, we
Yeah.
have kayak rentals too that are going, this isn't unique, just, some of our kayak rentals are very, very late. Do we, that's a smaller item. Can we,
Kayaks would be
can
easy
we
to deal with.
remove the kayak and, put it,
Maintenance building.
yeah, and
Yeah,
then,
kayaks we could deal
you
with.
can get it back when you've paid your amount due.
Do we, do we
Go ahead.
do we open ourselves up for damage issues? I'm glad you guys are saying not moving the boats,
Yeah.
maybe chaining them up because they can't be partied with, used until they're paid for. But I'm glad we're not thinking about moving the boats because of the damage that can occur, loading it on a trailer, et cetera. Are we opening ourselves up for any sort of insurance issue if we do anything more than just lock down the equipment?
Well, there's another way around that. If we're going to rewrite PP 22 and add the additional late fees, you can also write in there that if the payment is not received and the boat has to be relocated, all damages is their responsibility and not trailer estates.
That we're held
That-
harmless against it.
That, yeah, the
Okay.
hold harmless, that can be written in.
Okay,
Again,
we need to write that into the PP 23 as well.
Yeah,
And 24.
yeah, all of them.
Yeah, yep, all of them.
Is that consistent with the laws that exist? Because there's such things as bailment laws.
Yes.
Whereas if you take something in your possession and you're in control of it and it is damaged, then you could be held responsible for it.
No.
But if we write that into our PP 22, will that supersede the law then?
Well, that, again, I just said it to Mary and I should have said it to everybody. If we're going to look into that, I would like to run that past district's council.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Whatever we decide we want to use as our policy for this, we're
And
definitely going to have to get Mark involved as
Right.
far as to write that language that protects us. I'm just throwing out the fact that, just kind of basically just giving everybody a heads up, we're going to start charging late fees. So, get ready.
Who's going to contact Mark?
Once we decide what we want for a policy, I'm happy to work with Mark on getting
Gotcha.
the
Okay.
language and the contracts adjusted. I just, like I said, I want to give everybody a heads up. Late fees are coming if you don't pay. And, because that's in our contract today. So we're just going to start enforcing it. But what else do we want to do?
well, one other thing I see on here right away is the $100 per 30 days.
Yeah,
Well, for a boat slip, an outsider boat slip, that's cheaper than their rent.
Yeah.
I know.
Yes.
That's
So
not
that
going to work.
needs to be, that
It
needs to be jacked way up.
Yep.
Yeah, the kayak.
I mean, I can see somebody with a derelict boat say, I don't want that boat no more.
Yeah.
No, it's all yours now.
Yeah, just abandon it and
Yeah,
walk away. from it.
exactly.
Well, we can make it different for everyone. I just kind of was trying to just get the thought out there that we have that kind of penalty in place.
But
and
you're
we
having
should
the
be-
same problems with the storage lot, with people not registering and doing everything with the storage lots, right?
Not having current
No.
registrations on the
They're-
items in their space.
They're getting this stuff registered, but they're not actually putting it on the boat or on the trailer. That's
So it's in the
where,
office.
so they're sending it to the office, but they're not getting it on the trailers, not getting it on the boats. Like the one guy lives in Turkey, I guess, and he hasn't been here for like 3 years and his boat's in disrepair and flat tires and no registration. I think the registration on that one was like 2015 was the last
Wow.
time he put registration on that. I mean, technically it should be probably evicted and out of there, but we haven't done that with COVID and all that.
Yeah, but the last I checked, I thought he did have tags.
He sent it into the office,
into
but
the
it's
office,
just not
but
on the boat.
physically can't put it on the
Correct,
boat.
but he's not here, hasn't
Yeah.
been here.
So can he have it sent to us and us put it on the boat? So if you're driving through there, you realize that and guy next to him doesn't come up and say, hey, he's 1915 or whatever.
Back at Easter, I offered to do that with one person and they promised me that they were gonna go ahead and get it done. Still not done.
Hmm.
So I need to be a little more diligent in getting that done, and getting on these people about.
So for 22, we're saying we're okay. We're gonna enforce the first late fee, because that's already in our contract. Adding an additional one at the 30-day mark for another 10%, everybody's okay with that. If it's still not paid after 30 days, instead of removing it from the dock, we're gonna chain it.
Yeah, we already do that.
Okay.
That's a process in
Okay,
place.
that was in the original one. I was replacing it with, okay, we're gonna leave that alone until payment is made in full. And then what are we gonna charge them for an additional fee for every month thereafter? Because $100, you're right, is not.
Say 250.
Can we set up one price for residents and one price for non-residents? Or do
I
we
think
just
we
want to
have
make?
to,
one
because we
big
lose
price?
more, because the comment you made about a non-resident, it'd be cheaper just to leave,
Right, so we could say $100 per 30 days.
Now, the per
for
fraction
residents.
thereof, I don't know if there's a better way to word that, but my thought was, so your 30 days is up on December 1st. So if you come make payment in full on December 10th, it's $100. It's not a prorated $100.
Right.
Once you go into January and you still haven't paid it, it's another $100. I don't care where in the month of January you pay it. We're not going to do this, 10 out of 30 days prorating stuff. It automatically is another $100. And that's what I was trying to stay there with the or fraction, there's probably a better way to word that, but that was my thought process.
Yeah,
But we're not going to be calculating proration.
I agree with all of what we have here, but again, I'd like to see what district's council would say on adding the additional 10%. I just don't know
Okay,
if that's possible. But-
okay.
And then maybe he can give us some word on the $100 per 30 days or
right.
fraction thereof.
Okay.
There's got to be a better way too.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. I just was trying to get the conversation going about how strict do we want to be with getting these payments in and getting them in on time.
But depending on what Barnaby says there, are you going to take PP 22, 23, and 24 and rewrite those PDs?
Yes.
PPs to add that language to be approved then?
Yeah, we'll bring it back to another workshop with his input as to the right way to word it, and we can wordsmith it some more. I've got a quick question.
Mary,
Yeah?
keep in mind that I can scribe for you and make the changes like I have for other trustees. And you can feed me the data for me to scribe it. You and I can't talk about opinions of, and I have to scribe what you tell me to scribe when we're not in an open meeting and stuff. But keep in mind that I can do that for you.
I appreciate that. I'll be taking you up on that, you can bet.
Should we take this one step further? Is if the person cannot be contacted and the boat is chained or the lot is, how far do we want to take it? Do we have to remove the boat or?
That's what I'm going to be getting.
It's all of that
Yes,
because,
yes.
I can see somebody who has a storage lot and they have something in there and they don't care about it, or maybe you belong to their family and
They can
they're done
abandon
with
it.
trailer
Right.
estates.
Right.
What do we do with that
Yeah.
property?
Oh, I agree.
Yeah.
Dwayne, didn't we confiscate a boat once?
Yes, we did.
Didn't you go through that process? So
Yeah.
we've gone through the process before of
We sold it.
Yes, we
considering
did.
the boat abandoned and.
Yes, we did, but that boat was actually in the storage lot to where I didn't have to pull it out of the marina with the trailer.
Gotcha.
without the Trailer. And we actually
Gotcha.
did go through the whole process and sold the boat.
All right, so Mary's gonna contact Mark Barnaby and then she's gonna bring this back at a future workshop?
Yes.
Yes, then also send you
Okay.
rewrite for those various PPs.
Yep.
And then we're already changed the processes in here in the office on billing.
Yes, we're going to be sending them out, like I said, on the first of the month for the prior month. on the 15th of every month or the next business day thereafter. TJ already is aware of the October first invoices that haven't been paid as of today. He's got them all recalculated with the late fees and ready to go out in the mail. The only thing we're going to do is because the 15th is on a Saturday, we're going to wait until we open the mail today. And if there's a payment in there, then we won't send out the invoice. But if it's not, it's being mailed this afternoon.
Great. So it's been corrected.
Yes, and that's the way it will be going forward.
Good. Papers were all upside down.
I saw that earlier.
All right.
Stars on it, right?
Oh, we're on to.
Okay,
number
so we're
7.
on next to the rules and regulations, part A. Lori?
It was just my first stab at what we discussed at the last workshop and making the changes to resurrect the ID cards being required, and then specifically listing out some of the events that the ID card, resident card or guest card is going to be required at, such as bingo, dances, movies, pickleball, showtimes. And that's, so it's open for beating it up. What's up?
I don't mind the verbiage that you have in here. I know Kathy is going to set up different flyers and stuff, making the announcement soon of requiring the ID badge. But when we get down to such as bingos, dances, movies, pickleball, can't we just put in there that will be required for all use of any amenities?
Keep it more generic.
My only question about the pool, I mean, I agree that but who would be checking the pool?
Correct.
Is that going to be self-monitoring or
Correct.
what do we do?
Or actually any of the events going on in the activity hall.
Exactly. I mean, I could dances and showtime
And bingo.
and movies are monitored by someone. There's someone there. But gosh.
So can we fix it simply by adding the word all events attended, still leave such as, so that it slams them on the ones that they're going to get asked for it. And we don't want them to say, well, I didn't know I had to start showing my card at dances. So I thought I was trying to fix that.
Right.
And if we say it's required at the pool, I have, as a resident, have a right to say, where's your ID card? If you don't have your ID card, you're not supposed to be here.
It's true in theory.
It's interesting because you can be at the pool and there can be someone there that you can be very confident doesn't belong there.
Right.
And it gives you an avenue to officially question them and say, look, if you can't produce that you're a registered guest or a resident, I'm going to ask you to leave, you know. It doesn't mean you got to have to ask everybody at the pool every day. I mean, there's people there I know that live in the park all the time, but it gives you an arrow in your quiver if you want to question someone.
That's just like this last section for identification cards. Any person or persons found using counterfeit district identification cards. Well, and that person that's confronting that person, I mean, you don't really know.
Yeah,
it's kind of hard to do that. So it is nice to at least have a card. There is a way for they could counterfeit and do whatever they wanted, and they can use anybody's fob to get in the pool. So, and that happens all the time. But if they do have a card, if perhaps we figure out a way different to color code them, to make them for guests, to make them for.
That's what I was gonna say,
owners.
different color for
Yeah.
each one.
I don't mind pink. I mean, all men can wear pink, but if we do a color code, then perhaps we can kind of keep up with that way. And if someone does counterfeit it, then maybe we counterfeit it the wrong way. And as a trustee, we can check whether there are owners in the park. It just takes a few minutes to go to the computer and find out. Because that's my only concern is who's going to know what the ID
Russell,
cards are.
They are color coded.
That's a really good idea.
They are.
And in years past,
My wife's got a green.
we,
one, a pink one. Oh,
yeah, in years past,
say it.
one color and one color only was issued for owners, and a different color was issued for
renters.
renter residents.
Yeah.
But it was the same color for that fiscal year from October 1st through September 30th.
That's why we have so
And
many
then
colors in there.
the next year, it would be a different color for owners, a different color for renter residents, and it's for that fiscal year it would. And then at some point we had there were so many boxes of all these different colors, and it was like use up the stock. And I think that's a bad thought process that we've fallen into, is use up the stock, because then we've got a rainbow out there and you can't tell. So if we go back, and I don't know when it changed, but let's just go back 10 years. 10 years ago, you could look at the ID cards laying at bingo and know if somebody had not renewed their resident card and stuff, because they had last year's color.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that resurrected.
I don't think you have to have a different color. I mean, I don't care if you're a owner or a resident renter or a guest. What I want to know is, have you obtained the authorization to use the amenities?
Well, all right, Louis, the reason the renter residents have a different color from owners, because their cards expire at different times. Ours as owners expire September 30th. A renter resident that rents from January until April, their card expires in April. And so we did different colors for renter residents versus owners, because they had different expirations, and you can wind up with some that actually expire in, let's say, August. So they get a new card in August and it's still, let's say, a pink card, and they're going to be able to carry their pink card all through the following start of the fiscal year until August of the following year, 24, let's say 24. So it's best to be able to tell them apart.
But if all cards expire, and just like, at the same time, okay, even though they're a renter card or whatever, all cards expire. Okay, so if it expires in the middle of their renter one, like, okay, October 1st, like we do with fobs. All cards expire on October 1st, whether it's a renter card or whatever. They have to come and get a new card, start over with the new color at that point. Am I explaining that
I don't know what
So if
the
you rent
paperwork
from,
nightmare is.
If you rent from April through December, okay,
yeah,
your renter card expires October 1st, just like everybody else's card.
Yeah.
And then you got to go get a new
I
card.
think, well, you're going to be creating some quite a bit of extra work in the office, because their fobs also expire at that annual mark. So now you've got a card that's expiring October 1st to September 30th, and then you've got a fob that expires the following August. And they have to pay for their fobs annually. They don't just have their fobs and just get them renewed. Renters have to pay for them annually. So you're creating a dollar nightmare, a paperwork nightmare in the office, as opposed to just having a separate color for renter residents. Just my opinion.
I agree with it. I would like to see a different card.
Yeah.
But But again, I'd still like to see that this, you have to display your card regardless of whatever you're coming into. So I know we don't monitor pickleball, we don't monitor horseshoes or shuffleboard. I mean, bocce. But again, if one of the trustees walked up and there was a problem there, at least you can ask
Yeah.
for
At least you can
that
ask if
card.
they, you can verify that they have a right to be there.
Mhm.
Right.
Time you don't know who's who.
And well, that's a whole side of it too. I mean, there's people who don't know who the trustees are.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe the trustees should have their own IDs also.
I won't mind.
Well, normally I wear mine, but it's in getting the new card.
Sure. Sure. I would like
Like
to.
there's
have
nothing that
mine.
says we're a trustee on our card is what I'm saying.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
yeah.
I think that's a good idea, Todd.
I want shirts like me.
I'm not buying shirts that says trustee, no.
No.
I'll buy my own.
Although there are parks that do that.
Probably should have an official card that says we're a trustee. truthfully.
Let me look into that.
I think that's a good idea. I agree.
Again, going back to
Yes,
what
let's do
Lori
this.
has developed here, the verbiage, do we want to keep what we have, or do we want to put that in that a badge is required at all times for any of the amenities?
Well, it says owner and residents are expected to display their ID cards while moving through the park. If we add the word all, where it says pool and all events attended, that word all might fix that. You think? No? Yes?
I agree to that.
Okay. So that would take care of that section that's right under Part A. And then as it goes through, the rest of the changes, let's pick at them one at a time. Section 2, guests. Do we support the changes to B and C and D?
Well, where you have presented at each event, I guess you could do all events right there also and just remove the word each.
Each, okay, so let's see,
All events attended.
B and D.
Should we say district event?
Oh, what other event?
We'll just say all events is, because, all right, now that we're resurrecting this, I'm going to be expecting all of the euchre players to have their ID cards.
Yes.
Even though nobody else sees it, nobody knows, and I know all my euchre players, I'm still going to be expecting them to have their IDs.
Okay, so I'm going to ask a question. So if a club has an event where they sell tickets and they sell tickets to the outside of trailer estates, how does this apply? Does it make a difference? I mean, if we're saying that all events, you have to have an ID of some set, we're saying that, am I correct? So does that mean that if Beautification Club has an event and we're requiring that everybody attends has an ID, will that limit who can buy a ticket to go?
You're
Residents.
Okay, so I mean, I'm just saying is that this is for all events. So you're opening the door to saying only people, because if all of their events have a ticket price, I think so if you're saying that, then does that mean that only individuals who live here, who own here, or who are guests who have a card, not a visitor, they can only go? Because their events are different. And so we have to be, I'm just kind of protective of making it so exclusive. But the dances are different. If you don't live here, you pay. And that's a different story. But a lot of these clubs, I know they are the ones that have ticketed events. So what do we do? Are we
Oh, gosh,
setting a
this is bigger than
standard?
a bread
Are
box.
are we setting a standard that we're
I mean,
gonna,
we've got the hobby club sales that happen here
Yeah.
that people from outside the park attend.
And shuffleboard.
right?
And, you know,
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
I
wow,
just wanted that we don't,
this could be.
that we do this the right way. That's all.
But those are all advertised as being open to the public.
So I think that's where you're saying it should be district events.
That's what I was saying, it,
Not
because
all
not all
events,
events,
but
but
all
district-
district events.
District-sponsored events,
Right.
so that,
That way there.
so that
it
we are
excludes-
not excluding them from their activities.
Yeah.
Is that, I don't want to do that to them because they rely on that.
No, I think that's,
For
I
fundraising.
think that's the key right there. All
Good
district
point.
events.
Yeah.
I think you got it.
Yeah, the use of the pool,
So-
is that an event?
Well, that's why we listed pool
Amenity.
separate,
Amenity.
That they
because
was
it's
part of the
required at the
You have to
pool.
have a fob to get in. I think it's the issue of having the fob to get in. You know, and when, because it's the dances and bingo and showtime and movies, there's there's a fee. So you would, if you don't belong here, you can't do it. Dances are a big issue here. And so is bingo. But I just don't want to exclude clubs from not making money. That's all.
And the wood shop would be the same way. They don't require a ID in there, but they require you to sign in. And that's a key only. So
No,
once
it's moving to, it's fob.
But once we
It's
move it
fob
to a
now.
fob,
Yeah.
then will everybody's fob be able
No.
to go in there?
No.
Okay,
No.
so that's
You
how
have
we're
to belong.
restricting the wood
Yeah.
shop is by that. Okay,
Yeah.
so if you don't have a lifetime membership or don't have a membership, your fob
Won't allow
work
you
in there.
access to that building. Yeah.
Yeah, district
So
sound.
we think changing it to all district sponsored events will
That's
solve
right,
the problem.
I think
I'll do
that's-
that in both the top under part A and then, under section 2, B and C, add the all district sponsored events.
Yep, I think
Um,
that'll cover it.
As I read this, we're not saying that, I don't see where we're saying that a guest card must be presented to use the pool. You read B, it says a guest card must be obtained, they must obtain it from the Trader State's office prior to any guest using any of the Trader State's common recreation facilities without, is accompanied by a property owner or resident, renter resident. And then there's a comma says, the guest card must be presented at each event attended. Seems like you're talking about two separate things here.
Mhm.
Then it goes on to say such as bingo, dance.
How about
movies.
events
Well-
and facilities?
Well, that's what it
Right,
says
yeah.
under D.
Right,
Yeah,
Under D.
District sponsored functions and events, but you could say facilities.
facilities. Well, it says Trailer State's
There's no
common
function in
recreational
the
facility.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, but it doesn't say that the card must be presented there. It says the card must be presented at each event attended. I mean, that's the way I read it.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It doesn't say you have to have it at the pool. Because you have to
Right.
have it, but you don't have to have it at the pool.
Yes, you have it with you,
So
but you
where's
don't
that
have to
generic
present it.
one about must be worn as you move about the district? That
That's
covers
part-
it, right?
that's kind of broad.
Well, that's only
residents
for
are
owners,
expected
Mary.
to
They're
submit their
talking
ID
guests.
card while moving throughout the park. ID
Martial
cards
law,
are
moving
required
through
at the
the
pool and all district-sponsored events.
Where are you? Are you
I'm back on,
beginning?
right under A.
A-
I mean, we basically say that you have to wear an ID card as you move about the park. Now, that is going to be a resident card, a guest card, a renter, whatever it is,
No,
you have
it's
to have
not-
it.
Nope. That just says owners and residents. It doesn't say guests.
Should we add
Owners
guests?
and residents are expected.
So we should add guests, right?
It should be
We could add a
anybody.
sentence right after that. Well, because we don't do lanyards and the little, laminated cards and stuff for guests. We just give them a fluorescent orange guest card.
Mhm.
So I think we would need to add a sentence in there after owners and residents sentence and before the ID cards and address the guest cards. Guests must.
They must.
Sorry, I just looked out the window. It's snowing.
Oh
Sorry.
my gosh. That could be distracting. I can get that. Oh,
My, sorry if I gasped, that was the gas. Had nothing to do with topic. But we could add a sentence there and I think that we can address it. Anybody got any ideas? Because my brain is
Well,
fried on
I guess
snow.
guests and visitors must be, are expected to provide evidence of a guest card when, if approached or asked or requested,
Yes, I think it's more.
something like
If
that.
there's a problem or whatever, and you want to identify somebody and they
You
don't
have
have a
to
card,
be able to show
you've got
that ID.
automatic, sorry, you're out of
Yeah,
here.
yeah, you need to be able to provide if approached or asked with,
Mhm.
with your guest or visitor card.
Well,
All right, hang on just a second. I'm scribbling.
An ID card.
Yes, but what
To
she's
move out.
saying is my guests who are visiting me, I'm not gonna give them a card and a lanyard that they have, how are you gonna display it unless you've got this? I'm just gonna give you a card if you're a guest or a visitor. So you can't be expected to wear it around your neck like we do,
So we're
but you
gonna,
need to be expected to be able to show it if asked.
so that we need to change owners and residents are expected to display to
Yes.
present.
Present.
No,
Well, no,
How-
owners
how
and
about-
residents are
no, no.
expected- Owners and renters have to display. Guests and visitors need to be
No.
able to present it if asked.
All right.
Not a visitor, just
Right,
guests.
we got a problem here. Visitors don't get cards.
Okay, all
It's
right.
only the
Yes,
guests.
then.
Okay, so if we have the first sentence, owners and residents are expected to display their ID cards while moving through the park, period. Guests are expected to produce their guest card if requested, period. ID cards are required at the pool and
Got it.
district-sponsored events such as
Got it.
Present Fix It.
Yes.
Carry it all the time.
Got it.
I have another
So
question.
that, I think that
Opposed to
solves all our issues.
I have one.
Oops.
Does the spouse of an owner get an owner's card?
Yes.
They do?
Yes.
Okay.
That was an easy one, Pete. We can cover that one.
I should have known the answer to that, but I didn't.
Okay, so does
All right,
that cover
so we-
the rest of paragraph B and D? B,
I
C,
think
and
she
D?
did.
I think we've taken care of that. Now
Okay.
we've got section 3.
The visitor.
Right. And what we were adding was that except bingo, dances, movies, pickleball, showtimes, that's where we're excluding visitors.
Nice.
And thereby, I guess with dances, they have to pay to get in.
Correct.
Right.
She's talking about bingo or something like that with a visitor.
Yeah.
But didn't we say those people have to register in the
But
office?
yeah,
already?
they actually have to come and
Yeah.
register,
Yeah.
yes.
We've
Yes,
done
not
that
vis-
for
yep.
bingo.
Yep, we've already got that tackled.
But outsiders at a dance don't have to be with a resident, do they?
No, they pay.
That's what I
No,
was
but
saying.
They pay.
they actually get charged because they're not presenting
Mm-hmm.
an ID card.
They're presenting cash.
That's right.
I don't think we need to change that
Mhm.
paragraph A of section
we-
3.
So you're saying don't make any changes, or the way I presented it is acceptable?
I think the way you presented is acceptable.
Okay, that's all I needed to know. Cool. All right, so I can bring this back at the next board meeting?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Okay, the next item is rental of small hall and event space.
Yes. So I know you
Right.
gathered some information. I reached out to our new insurance, Aegis Insurance and Risk Advisors.
Oh, wait.
It was a
I'm
PP
sorry.
38, Lori. It just wasn't on the front page of the agenda, but it.
Oh. All right, what, and is this the rental of the rent of recreation hall? Is this topic?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I got them out of order with what I thought we were doing. All right, go ahead. I'm with you now.
Right. So because one of the big things about renting our space is liability, I contacted our new insurance company that we're working with, and they actually have a group that handles this for their clients, and they have a large number of special districts that they have for clients. So they have a brochure that I gave each of you, facility rental best practices. I just got this Friday afternoon. You haven't had a chance to look at it. So I think this is definitely something that we need to bring back for a future workshop. But it does point to a lot of things you've got to consider if you're going to do this. And what I did was I went out to an event space site where if I were looking for event space for whatever from 50 people to 500 people and what I wanted it for, what's out there and what do they charge. And I looked for some spaces that represent what we have here. So because they have full kitchens and all this, we're not offering that. And I found 2 spaces that would be similar to this space that we're sitting in right now in the small hall. And what I wanted to point out to you is how different the contracts are. Because this kind of the level of decisions we're going to have to make about what we're going to allow, what we're not going to allow, can get quite, this is going to be a lot of work if we decide to do it. It's going to be a moneymaker, don't get me wrong, but it's going to be a lot of work. And whoever's going to end up administering the rental of this space is going to have, we're going to have to be very specific as to what we're allowing and not. Like the first one, perfect for 50 to 80 guests. Well, here we go. That's the space. It can be half of it. It can be all of it. As far as that, this includes tables and includes chairs. It includes, speakers, mics, a Roku TV with cable. I mean, all right, if we're going to get into that, there's fees that are associated with all of that. And then the prices for that range from $700 on a weekday to $800 on a Friday night or $1,000 on a weekend. And if we're going to provide our own tables and chairs, are we going to insist that we do the setup so that we don't have to worry about our items being damaged or somebody getting, there's just a lot to consider. The second one was attendees of 80. Which again, it would be accommodated to this. This was a flat $650, but this got really strict on if you go overtime, there's $100 fee. If you're renting it on a Friday and Saturday, you go past midnight, it's a $350 fee. There's a refundable security deposit. It just gets quite involved. So I just wanted to put it out there. I'm not trying to discourage this being a way for us to bring some additional revenue in to the park. I'm just saying there's going to be a lot of work that's going to be needed to figure out how we're going to do it. And when we're deciding if we're going to do the small hall and the large hall, one of the things that, when I look at the capacity for the large hall, I thought I had printed that off, but I didn't. We have the capacities for the large hall, whether it's the front half, the back half, the entire hall, whether you have a dance floor or you don't have a dance floor. And right now it can accommodate 500 people. But when we have an event here, and if we had 500 people come, you don't have to get parking for 250 cars, okay? So we're going to have to think about what we've got for parking. And it immediately became, wow, this is huge. And I think if we're going to consider doing this, I personally would recommend that we start out with just this hall. And we don't get into that. We don't get into the space and the number of parking and the use of the kitchen and any of that that if we start out with this hall only, we allow catering, outside catering to come in and set up, but you don't get to use the kitchen. That, we can think about what else we want to offer, but I think until we understand what's involved in getting into this business, we probably should take a baby step.
So we
And
need
then
a,
if,
we need an event
Yeah.
plan.
You need an event planner. This is what this recommends, that you need a person who is in charge of the space rental, who can make sure that's consistent, that understand what the person's doing and what they can and cannot use the space for. And then that, we're gonna need someone to make sure that they're not abusing that. If it's so many people, what are we gonna require for security? I mean, there's just a lot to consider, and this document here that we got kind of talks about all of that. It talks about all the things you have to consider when you're opening up your space, and all of the hold harmless agreements you've got to get, that people need to sign. And what, so I just wanted to give this to you to absorb, basically.
And this is something that we can do that we legally can do.
We can.
We
just need to-
we also need to be cognizant of being able to secure access between the halls. If we're going to rent a hall to a non-resident, so we don't have any sort of recourse liens and stuff if there's a problem, we have to be able to secure the area that they're accessing and prevent them from accessing other areas.
Correct. Yeah, so I mean, we're gonna have to, this is gonna take some planning, some real detail work. I just wanted, when I read this document, I thought, wow, this, and then I looked at the prices. The other thing I found, this is one event planning site, but if you're looking for an event for the amount of people this hall can handle, there's not a whole lot of places in Bradenton. All the places there were Tampa, St. Pete, Clearwater. I was just like floored that there's not a lot in Bradenton. So there could be a demand for this space if we decide to enter this.
Thank you for bringing it forward, because I think there's a lot to consider. I mean, there's a bathroom in this hall.
Well, they would have to use the bathrooms out there.
Public.
2 one-holers.
Yeah,
For 80 people,
exactly.
it's not very much.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's true.
There's also the concerns of scheduling it, because we have a process in place where government elections have first dibs at a room, then trustees and trustee, and then clubs and then individuals. And take a look at the calendar. It's pretty booked.
I did that, Lori, to be honest, because I thought, do we even have enough capacity to do this? And I was surprised that a lot of Friday and Saturday nights, which is going to be when this is probably this hall is not being used.
Yeah, it's just.
Now,
Oh,
granted,
that's
we have
wrong.
an event right
You
next
could-
door. But
Euchre plays every Friday night in the small hall.
now I
every
thought
Friday
it
night in
was
the
at
small
back
hall.
of the large hall, but okay. That must be. All
That,
right,
that
any
was
rate,
through the summer for setup, so they didn't have to tear down and set up.
gotcha.
They just played where bingo was.
Yep.
But every Friday night, Euchre plays.
We would have to give consideration for if this space was, if we were going to allow this space to be used for the lease out, we would have to have another place for those clubs to go
We have
in exchange for the income.
activity center has rooms not getting
And
used a lot.
yeah,
so-
so I, like I said, I think this is definitely a big discussion for another time, but this is a lot of good information that I thought people should have an opportunity to read and absorb and figure out if this is something we want to do. It would be a moneymaker though.
And I also haven't had time to take a look at the other template that Dottie had sent
Yeah.
in, so we can look at that. But I can see needs advertising,
It-
event planner, scheduling. It's gonna be a nightmare.
The website that I got these 2 venues off of, you can post your venue there and have that be a way to get the advertising word out. And I'm
I-
sure there's other places like that one, but
I do think it's feasible. I think it's should be looked at.
Could you have an outside vendor to manage the thing or?
Well, you know what I don't know is, I don't know. I didn't check into that. The site that I got these two places off of, maybe they have a service you can hire for managing, or maybe we can hire somebody else to manage it and take a percentage of the,
Out of 297 residents or residents in the park, maybe we have an
Event-
ex-event
ex-event planner?
planner that might be willing to step up and assist us with this.
wouldn't that be wonderful? Yeah, okay. At any rate, just wanted to put it out there so we can have some information to absorb.
Okay. The next item I think we had was the food barrel.
Is all I wanted to ask is if, we could possibly, during season and stuff, put the food barrel outside the large hall. And the group that's taking care of the food barrel will bring it back in the hall during the night, so we don't have, people going through it or anything. It's safer out here by the hall, but it's less visible and a lot of people don't know where it is. Just the idea of trying to figure out a different place that it could be safe and allow people to continue, because it's a great benefit. It's just kind of tucked away now and it's getting a little harder. People don't fill it up as much or.
When we had it at the post office.
Yeah, it was. too
That was the
visible.
problem where we
Yeah.
had people. So if the people that are organizing it can come here every night and move it inside, why can't we put it back at the post office? Is it, I mean, are they doing it in the middle of the day or are they coming in? And at a certain time of night, it goes into the laundromat where it's fob access only, just like the large hall's fob access only. Would that solve it? Get it more
That
visible,
would-
but get it protected? No?
I don't know about that. I think the post office was too active and it couldn't be controlled, at least down here by the office. It's
Okay.
more people in the park. People that are wanting to go by there and pull things out for their dinner. They're not coming here to the office, but they are
Okay.
riding by the park. And it was so visible up there, I think, and it was great because it was getting filled up a lot. But now it's dropped so much that it's people don't want to come into the hall. They don't know it's there. If we can put it somewhere accessible where these folks that take care of it and maintain it can move it directly in the building, have it locked up and bring it back out, that kind of situation. It's not a big deal, but it's just to keep it going, to keep it out there visible.
Who's gonna put it in and out?
The people who take care of it right now, who take care of getting it, turning it over to the Meals on Wheels and stuff. And they've already agreed to that. So that's that's a no-brainer. And if the lockup person can push it in there, I mean.
I didn't want to add anything else to them.
Nope, I don't
Okay,
either.
That's
well,
all.
They've agreed to take care of themselves. So if they leave it out there and they lose everything, then so be it. But it was the same way at the post office. It just was so out there at the post office that, I had to go down there twice when Mary called me because people were taking stuff out of it and loading their little baskets and going on their way. So down here, at least I felt it might be a little more secure. And if they're willing to push it in and out, then they can collect more.
Can we
and-
just leave it in the laundromat space?
No
Just
problem.
leave it in there? I mean, is
I wouldn't
that,
let everybody use it.
just
in there.
everybody can go in there and drop it off and,
Just you're moving it to a third location now.
but if it's,
But that's-
everybody goes to the post office
Yeah.
every day, bringing their item that they want to donate while they're going to get their mail and it's right in the laundry space. It's convenient versus needing to come down here if that's what's causing. It's secured. It's,
Yeah, I just brought it up for suggestions so we can maybe help them out as far as their collections and doing all that.
there's certainly enough space in there to handle that.
For me, just to let you guys know, for me, I can't get in and out of the laundry space. There's an 1.5 inch jump to get in the door. My wheelchair doesn't fit through the door and it doesn't make that jump. So you have just excluded me from making any sort of a donation if you put it in the laundry room.
Okay.
I'm just
Problem.
putting that out there.
Well, if the group that's managing the food barrel now, if they just agree to pull it out
Mhm.
and then bring it back in the evenings.
Mm,
Just
that's
leave it
all.
right where it's
Yeah.
supposed to be outside the large hall.
That's what I was
Mhm.
suggesting.
Okay.
Yeah, easy enough.
Okay, I just want to make sure
Right.
we all talked about it. We decided before we just started moving it around again. Since we already decided to move it down here.
I hate to move it to a location.
Right. Oh,
That's what I was
that's what the whole suggestion is, just bring it outside,
Uh-huh.
make it visible, like Kathy's board. I call it Kathy's board, I'm sorry. The entertainment board. At least everybody knows where that is, and if that barrel's out there, they still have one in a little more secure place. Not everybody's picking it. And then,
Russell,
uh-huh,
the group that does this, are they residents?
yes.
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 Okay, can you encourage them to put an ad, if you will, I don't know how else to refer to it, an ad on channel 732 and tell folks that the barrel's there and where it is and that it's being moved in and out at nighttime, and try to get the word out of where that barrel is actually located and stuff?
Okay, you can do that.
And I do thank them for everything they've done
Sure.
with that food barrel. It's been
Yes.
fantastic. Okay, the next one I think we've added there was the section 12 deed restrictions, and I have passed out an email for a discussion between district council and myself. The reason I want to take a look at this is there was a question on just who had the authority to approve the sale, leases, no, there is no subleases.
No.
At trailer estates, and then collect the $50 filing fee. I signed a document about 2 months ago and some questions arose to that. So I went back to district's council, and what he is saying is, to my questions is, does the board have to approve the sale, transfer, lease, subleases, or occupation of the within trailer estates? And then the other question I had is, does PP 26 constitute the approval of the deed restrictions? His reply to that is no, the board of trustees do not have to approve the sale, transfer, blah, 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 as long as we have delegated in writing, approved by the board, to the office manager, which is currently the process. When I started looking in that out, we went all the way back to 1992, and I could find nothing that actually did that. So what I'd like to do is bring this to the next board meeting, authorizing TJ or the representative in there to actually sign off on PP 26, which I gave you a copy also. And that actually does cover the board on making the sales, collecting the fees and everything else. So yeah, the only thing I can't find, since we've been doing it for 100 years, 50, 60 years, is I can't find anything in writing previously to up to 1992. So I'd just like to have a new one put in place to cover our
This
decision.
Dwayne?
92, right?
Yeah, yes, Laurie.
Dwayne, you said to sign PP 26. What's PP 26? I'm sorry, don't have internet right now.
Application.
Yeah, all it is the application for prospective purchase or entitled transfer of a rental or rental. And
okay,
it does have a spot down there, but what I thought this form really did was just really required the age requirements. So that's why I went back to district council to actually see if this form was actually would actually cover that.
We need to be real careful because they're going to be, we have her sign PP 26, but we also have her sign those, the lease agreements we just talked about, 22, 23, 24, that are, we need to authorize her to sign either like all the documents or we need to go through very specifically and very carefully and enumerate every PP that she's allowed to sign. So you've got to do it something either real all-inclusive, or you've got to be very specific, but be specific and make sure we're covering all the documents she can sign.
I'm not sure about that. Because the only one I really see here is under the section 12. The rest of it is the renter's forms, which the owner has already signed. I'm not sure I would want to go that far.
That's fine. That's fine. I was just making sure if we're doing this as a CYA, we need to think about it, and if it's necessary, do it. If it's not, don't. But just throwing it out there.
Yeah, I just don't see anywhere else in the deed restrictions, the rules and regulations where that's covered other than this section 12.
Okay, that's fine.
So with that, I'll go ahead and drop the PP 38 for the approval, delegating the office manager or the representative in the office to sign for the board of trustees.
Yep, that's 38. You just said 38, PP 38.
Yeah, PP
That's
38.
Yeah.
That's the motion thing.
Yeah. What do we have next? The program manager.
Yep, and then the marina lease.
I also passed out. I'd like to pass. Geez, where in the hell did I do with it?
Yeah.
I received an email on October 11th, and it was such a unique email that I wanted to bring this to the board. I'll go ahead and read this to you. It is from the Honorable Misty Serbia. It says, I understand that you have a property management position available at Trailer Estates. I am interested in learning more about the position and enclose my resume. The resume is attached to that email. I did go through the email, and I also went back to what we had put out on ZipRecruiter, and the part that she's missing in here is the community association managers documentation, but the degrees, everything else she's pretty well got covered. I just wanted to hear from the board if I should pursue this as a interview for the park manager. I see benefits to it, but I don't want to sway any of you on this thing.
When could you start?
So Misty Serbia is asking to be.
Yeah, she would like to be considered as the park manager, but she does not have that CAM on there.
Gotcha.
I've had a discussion with her about the CAM. She doesn't see that as a problem of taking that 16-hour course and obtaining that if the board is willing to look into
She does have
conducting
district.
the interview.
When's your term expire?
December.
Yeah, December's or
December?
yeah.
I didn't know.
She does have the district, basically qualifications, but she could go to, since we're already a member of the Florida Association of Districts, we could actually let her start taking those classes and add that to this. She already has that basically with being in District 4. So she understands district, everything that handles with the district members, tourists, all of that. So that's basically broke down in a different direction, but that knowledge is still district knowledge.
Well, she's very familiar with Trailer Estates. She's done a whole lot through the county commissioners on assisting here. So she's really aware of what's going on here. I don't have a problem with it, but I want to make sure the rest of the board members are able to even setting this thing up.
Go for it.
I'd like to interview her.
Consider. Yeah.
Okay,
I would love to interview her.
I will set up the interview hopefully for the next board meeting, and we'll make sure you would have all your questions and stuff around. I am thinking that I don't want to ask the questions. I almost would like to recuse myself because I have been on many boards with the commissioner. I don't know if that would, how do you say it? I don't want to influence. I don't want anybody to come back and saying, you're pushing this thing. So
Well, but we all make the decision, so.
Yeah, you all make the decision. So
I agree.
I'm
It
just
still takes
one
9
vote.
votes, not just one.
Yeah,
So
and she might be more comfortable too with you asking her questions than, you
Could
know.
be.
it could
Well, I
be.
mean, we all need to prepare our
Yeah.
questions and
Yeah.
the order in which we ask them, you know,
Yeah.
in the past interviews, Dwayne, you've been the first one to ask questions, so
yeah,
you still get to ask your questions, but if it's more comfortable that you're not the first
that
one,
I won't.
but if the questions that you would ask aren't asked by any of us, you need to
Then
have an
okay.
opportunity to ask that
Okay.
question.
Okay,
I don't
agree
think
with
you
that.
should be recused,
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
But not necessarily go first.
but not
Okay.
necessarily go
Mhm.
first,
Good.
is what I'm saying.
You
Have
go
we-
first.
Have we sent out a
Are we gonna
perimeter
set up,
requirements that we expect from each person that we interview?
Yeah.
I guess I haven't seen them since.
Okay, we'll get
Yeah.
Yeah, we.
are we gonna,
job description.
Yeah,
I
he's
hate to
actually-
bring up additional
Yeah.
work because of my absence.
I should confess to that also. The position description that I originally put off on ZipRecruiter, I found a better document. I did make changes, which is now filed with the Florida Association of Special Districts, which really covers a lot more in detail of what this board would require of any applicant. So I did
think we all
change
need to
that.
see that.
I didn't think that that had to be a board approval. I just used it as an administrative tool and did it. So fire me.
But if that's, if
Next
that's
year.
the job description that she's gonna be considered
yeah,
for, though,
yeah.
I'd like to see.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
updated
Yeah, I
job
will
description.
provide, I'll
Okay.
give everybody a copy in the office.
All right.
Lori, you had something?
yeah, are we setting up her interview for November 7th? Or are we gonna try to do a special meeting to get to get her interviewed and committed, if that's the direction we're going? Because we keep, in the length of time it takes us to get the stuff done, they go elsewhere and hire in elsewhere and we can't snag them.
We have lost candidates because of the time it takes us to go through our process.
Might have a new board in with this.
Yeah.
Say that again.
Yeah.
But
that might be a good idea.
in the past, we've had people that we've been interested in, because of the time it takes us to schedule them for their interview with the board or whatever, they've already gone out and gotten jobs at other places.
Mhm.
So if we wait till November 7th to do her interview, do we run the risk that she might gain employment somewhere else? Because you know she's looking, her term is up at the end of December.
Yeah.
Right.
Do we want to be, make sure we're not losing an opportunity here, because
Right.
we only do things twice a month?
And it might be a better
And make-
interview without us being worn out from the board.
So
Yeah,
an interview date that's not on the regular scheduled board meeting
So
date.
set up a
Yeah,
special.
Okay?
do a special meeting.
We've
I,
done this before.
I don't mind doing that.
We've done it before.
I think that's a good point, Lauren.
I will, I'll set up the special meeting and set up the interview at the same time.
Okay. I just,
Okay, thank you.
And we're still gonna get applications because we've already
Yeah.
proceeded with the special district. So we're
Correct.
still gonna get applications, but then we'll take those as they come.
Yep. Okay, I will do that. The next item I think we had was leasing of
the Marina
the
building
marina
lease.
building.
I have that.
No, I thought it was renew Malden Jenkins.
Well, we can do, that one's a real quick one, so let's do that one.
Yep.
first, If you don't mind. The contract we have with Malden Jenkins as our corporate auditor, it was a 3-year contract. It was up with the audit of our fiscal year ending 9/30/2021. So we are now ready for the audit of our financials for fiscal year ending 9/30/2022. The board has 2 choices. We can renew the contract for another 3 years, and I've given you a copy of the proposal that they have for that 3-year period, or we can put it out for bid. If you want to put it out for bid, it's a detailed process. So if you want to know what that is, I'll be glad to share that with you. But I've just kind of provided for you what we've been offered. In my personal opinion, I can't hire the auditor because it's a conflict of interest. So the board needs to make that decision.
And their pricing hasn't changed, has it?
The pricing, it has gone up,
Has.
okay? But I think the reason why it's gone up, I've used them a lot in the last year with everything that's been going on in the park for it as advisors to how to handle certain situations. So they already know when they get into the books, it's going to be a lot more, it's going to be a little bit more complicated than it's been in past years, and it's going to continue when we start doing the prepayments and everything, that there's going to be more that they're going to have to audit. So I think they built that pricing
So that's what this is.
into that, yeah. But I have in the budget, right now, the first year, what they've offered is 12,000. I budgeted 13 because I figured with everything going on, it was going to be more expensive. So they came in under what I had put in for a budget assumption for all that's worth. But, you know, you do have the choice as a board to say, we'd like to go out for bid for enough to see if there's anybody else that would be interested in taking on the auditing of our finances.
How many years have they done the audit?
They have done it for as long as I've been here. They were here before I came.
Three.
This,
The
the
last
contract
contract
that
period
just
was
was a
for 2
3-year
years.
contract, but that was, we put it out to bid at that point.
Yep. We put it
We
out to
got
bid.
only 2 companies that submitted a bid. We decided to stay with Malden Jenkins at that time.
Are we required to put it out for bid or?
You're
Can
not
we go-
required
No.
to. It's totally up to you guys whether or not you want to go out to bid or renew the contract. So, if you want to put it out to bid, I can let you know what that process is going to look like. If you want to renew the contract, I'll bring it back to the next. Do you want to know what the bidding process is?
Well, do you feel their pricing is reasonable?
Yes.
That's what, I mean, that's
Yes.
a real
I'd say
question.
go
Yeah.
for
Because
it.
I think they've only
Good.
gone up. I don't even think it's $500
Oh,
from
no,
what
it's-
we had for the last
No, they,
contract period.
this 1,200 is $1,000 more than what we paid for
1,000,
the last
okay.
one, but, so it, you know,
But again, they're only recommending $500 a jump for the next
right,
2,
right.
3 fiscal
Right.
years.
And, you know, we do, the state of Florida, put out, a qualification or certification for auditing. And there's quite a process you have to go through to get on that list of preferred, firms, and they did it, and they were chosen, by Florida to be a preferred firm for auditing, financials. They do a lot of special district work. Like I said, they have been invaluable to me over the last year as far as how should I handle that? How should I do the accounting for this, set up the structure on QuickBooks to handle all the new things we've got coming. They've helped me a lot through that.
When did they come in and do their presentation? Was that last year or the year before?
That was the
before.
year before when there was some question about how I would handle other things.
Uh-huh.
And they came to explain why we were accounting for things the way
That
we
was
do.
right during our budget hearings.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. They came, did that, and they've never charged us for any of this
Right.
additional advice. So,
I truly don't have a problem with going for the additional 3 years. I think it's gonna be worth. If everybody takes a look, the PP 11B, I think it is the nominating the audit committee, naming 3 people. They have to develop the bid specs. It has to be put in the paper for X amount of days. You have to have your bid openings, submissions. They have to review it. It comes back to the board. It's a lengthy
it's a
process.
very lengthy
Very
process.
lengthy process.
But
It
So
is.
with that, my recommendation is go ahead for the next 3 years.
Okay.
So
All right, I'll
should
bring
be
that
only
back.
5.
Thank you.
Does the rest of the board agree with this?
Yeah, I've never had a
Yes.
problem with them.
Yeah.
so.
No, we've always had good results.
Oh, I like their little book.
Okay,
Good reading.
so the very last item I have on the agenda is the lease for the Marina building. It has been brought to my attention that they are in breach of their contract. So we need to decide as a board what action we want to take for that.
In which way are they breaching?
In the contract, it specifically details what they get for their dollar and what uses they're allowed to have take place there. In the contract, it says that they have 108 feet of seawall located on the west side of the ramp to the fence of the boat slips. Okay, so they have that seawall. It says that their uses are for boat repair, boat motor repair, boat and trailer storage, sale and or rental of boats and boat motors, bait and marine product sales, and full service maintenance of boat and boat motors. It does not say that they can take that space of the seawall and subdivide it into slips and rent those slips to outside residents of trailer states to get income. And they are doing that.
Oh,
Okay. Now, we need to decide what we want to do about that. We have a couple of choices here. We can just say breach of contract. We need to vacate the property. Now we have to figure out who we're going to put in there, and we're going to have loss of rental income while we try to figure out who might be interested in that space. And we have those slips that are being rented to people that they're going to have to vacate those slips because it's no longer available to them.
And
That's like the worst. The other option is that we tell them that they're in breach of contract, and as a result, we're going to renegotiate the contract with them. And we charge them more for lease income than they're paying today because they're able to get income from the use of those spaces along the seawall. Or we say you're in breach of contract, we're putting a new contract out, and we allow them to pay the same amount they're paying now for the building, maybe, maybe not, but we get a percentage of the income that they are gaining from those slips that they're leasing to outside people. And, you know, we had people come today, we've talked about increasing our slip rentals. They're charging a lot more than we're charging for those spaces along the seawall. They're making some pretty good money on those. So we need to decide. It's been brought to my attention now that I know that they're in breach of contract. We have to take some kind of an action. And I'm putting it out there for, what do you want to do?
Okay, let me go. I'm going to put my 2 cents in this. If you go all the way back to Randy Hicks's contracts, the previous boards authorized him to use 1 to 5 slips around the corner. That was never in the contract. When I did the contract negotiations with Innovations as well as the other guy that I booted out of there,
I'm back.
that was not in the contracts. I based the same contract from Hicks to that to Innovations, and I authorized them to use those spaces. I do not want to go back and call it a breach of contract when it's not been in any contract that we've had with any of the vendors.
I'm sorry, Dwayne, the
I
Hicks
don't care. I
contract,
don't
the
care.
Hicks contract specifically said slips 1 through 5 was in the contract. And those slips were not intended to be income generators. They were intended to be places while they were working on boats to allow them to.
With the Hicks contracts, it was 1 through 5.
1 through 5.
So
That
all I
was
did
very
was
specific.
neglected to put that in that contract. So now it's going to be a breach of contract.
Well,
I totally disapprove.
Giving them spaces that they can use while they're performing their boat
Maintenance.
repair.
Mhm.
Maintenance
Right.
is one thing.
Mhm.
And I absolutely, that's what we've had with every marina contract before. In order for them to be able to perform the maintenance that they're doing on the boats, it's nice to have a slip that they can put the boat in while they're working on it. Get that.
Mhm.
It's them using the space to rent out as an income generator, as a business income, is where we've never allowed anybody to do that. So if you want to renegotiate this redo this contract that says they get that space along the seawall for when they're working on boats and they need to have the boat in the water to do whatever they're doing for maintenance, then that's one thing. But I personally, I don't think we want to have a business in there that's using our seawall to make money.
That's what they do is make money.
Well, they make money on boat repair and
Does it-
maintenance of boats and sales of boats and boat products, not renting slips. That's what we do.
Yeah, does their contract specifically say that that's what that area is to be used for? To put the boats while they're being maintained and so forth?
It doesn't. It says that they have the use of the seawall, but then under what their allowable uses are included in this lease does not say income.
I agree. I agree kind of with both of you, okay? They've been allowed to use it all along and use it. Nothing in there says that they can't rent it, but nothing says they should be rented.
I had legal, I'm sorry, I had Blaylock Walters review this. There's nothing in here that gives them permission to rent those and get income from
It
it.
says use of is what I'm,
Yeah.
that's where I'm looking at it.
I really wanted to make sure
I mean, I
before
would
I
love to
brought
have
this
that
here
extra
today.
space for us to rent more slips.
yeah.
I'd love to have that. I think we need to basically leave it be because it's been left alone like this forever. But when we renegotiate this contract and
When is that gonna be?
2026.
2026.
Well,
So-
there's nothing that says you can't go back and renegotiate an existing contract, but I will not call this a breach of contract,
No.
especially since I was, well, at that time was maintenance, and I actually told them that is what we've had previously in the contracts and could do that. I think that would be bad on Trailer City's part. It would just look absolutely ugly with that. I don't mind you, me, whoever's going to do that amendment to the contract. At the end of this contract period, I think that's up in,
2026.
no,
Yeah.
the end of this fiscal year.
Oh.
It
There,
still goes
it's
by
a,
years that
it's a
we're doing it.
June 1 renewal date.
Yeah.
It's June 1 to, so it terminates on May 31st, 2026. So on June 1st of 2023, we will be assessing the 5% increase in rent that we're allowed to do under the contract. And at that point, but we can offer them a new contract and to see, but they can say, no, I have a contract that's in effect until 2026, and I'm not interested in signing that new contract. But if they do that, then we need to decide, are we going to like look the other way, that they're using that space for something that this contract does not authorize the use of? I'm sorry that I have to be the bad guy here, but I mean,
No, I don't see you
I'm
being the
looking,
bad guy at
I'm
all,
looking at,
but
lease
there,
income. and-
there's other ways to do the contracting instead of calling it a breach of contract. We can always go back and say, okay, we're now putting in $1.5 million with the marina. Looking at the contract, we can go back and say, we want to now renegotiate the existing space to increase that per month. And if they say no, flick it up there, then we always have the termination.
That's exactly.
Get out. I mean, there's
I
several ways.
think we're saying the same thing.
Okay,
There's
but
a
I think
business-
we're not
say-
going to
There's
give
a
up
business
breach.
decision to be made there too. If we terminate the lease and they move out,
Oh.
we're gonna lose rental income there, then we gotta find somebody else to come in.
That was the very first, when I said, these
Yeah.
are our options, we can say,
Yeah.
we're terminating your contract. We have the legal right to do it. But
Yeah.
then what are we going to do with the building?
Yeah,
Who
that's,
we're gonna
maybe
get
we
to
gotta
do
make
it?
a business decision on
You know,
that.
so that is an option, but there are other options we need to consider because this is
Sorry.
a big thing. We've got that rental income that we don't want to lose, but we're also losing income that we could be generating because those slips are being rented out and we could be renting them out. And so that's where I'm at.
So that's just along the seawall.
Just a
Yeah,
little.
I
Down the
agree with
corner.
Dwayne, though. Pretty much, maybe silently made a commitment to them.
Right. So we could say, we understand you're using the parental income and we've decided that, we're going to give you a new lease that says it gives you permission
Right.
to use them parental income. Okay, give them one that says that.
Uh-huh.
But in return, are we going to want a percentage of that rental income or are we going to up their rent because now they've got an income generating opportunity? I mean,
If they're charging $400 a month and we're not getting anything from that, and
then if you're gonna use those as an income generator and not for the purposes of performing the maintenance on the boats, which is one of the, then fine. But
Yeah.
your rent now goes from this amount a month to this amount a month, or your rent is this amount a month plus a percentage of what you're getting for slip rental income. I mean, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there that my first thing when I saw this was, that's income that could be ours. And we're challenged with finding ways to bring more income into the park to offset our assessments. And this is one place we can get more money somehow, whether it be in us taking the slips back, us taking a percentage of the income, or us upping their rent if they're going to use those slips as an income generator.
Yeah, maybe our first approach should be to try to renegotiate.
I agree.
And include
Yeah.
some of those, and rather than go in and make them mad or talk.
No,
about
I
the
don't want
kind
to,
of thing.
no.
Yeah, just,
No,
just-
so that, I mean, I'm like, what would you like to do?
Yeah.
Renegotiate the contract. Go
I have
ahead, Lou. You've been
questions.
trying real hard to get something in.
Well,
Sorry.
So they're charging more for our slips, so it's not like they're undercutting us and taking the business away. They're not competing with
Right,
us.
yeah.
But the other question I have is, do we have any sense that is a desirable thing? Like if we lost their business, are there people waiting to gobble that up?
Nope.
That's my
No,
question.
That's a big question.
It's
yeah.
a very, it would have to be another,
We were fortunate to find innovations.
yeah.
Okay, so it's not like there's 6 people calling every year saying, hey, man, when's our lease up? We want to get in there. Okay.
For it
That
to be,
matters to me.
for it to be a marine, boat repair,
Yeah.
that type of place. Yeah, no, I don't think there are people waiting for space down there to do it. I agree.
Other than that, they've been good tenants, as
I,
far as we know.
I don't have a boat, so I have no idea. They paid their lease on time. Yes.
I don't know that the boaters love their service, but that's not, I mean, we only judge how they do business with us, I think.
I'm just gonna throw this out there. That building is unique to all of our other buildings.
Yeah.
In that is not a building that is required that only residents use. So if it weren't a boat repair, somebody wanted to make it a really nice restaurant, I think we could make it happen.
So that one's is
Oh, wow.
zoned differently.
Yes, and it's not, like the firehouse, because of its zoning has to be residential, but it also because it's government owned and can only be used by residents. The marina is the one and only place
That was the only thing.
that was grandfathered.
Oh.
We pay property taxes on that building. We don't pay property taxes on any other building because that's considered different. Because it's open to both residents and non-residents. So once we, this is the thing, if we ever make the decision to make those slips resident only, then now we have, now any business that operates out of that building can't do boat repair for non-residents. Okay,
I see.
so we have to be very careful. But I'm just, like I said, this was here we are always looking for ways to bring more money in, and we haven't, and we're losing money here. If we have those slips, we could rent or something else. So I
guess first step's
one
just
of
to
the
talk
times I
to
hate
them.
my
Yeah,
job.
did you originally talk with them, Dwayne? Is that you actually set that up, the whole thing?
Based on past history of the other contract.
If I
Just
can
that
ask,
that didn't get written in.
do they have other slips that they also use as part of the contract for boat repair?
I have,
No.
So this is the only thing?
Mhm.
Okay. And have they been used for boat repair?
Yes.
Do we know? They have been.
Yep. When on the west side, you have 100 and, I forgot, 100 and some odd
linear feet.
feet of
Okay.
seawall
Right.
that they can
Right.
use there.
it's 108.
108.
Okay.
Yeah.
And on the east side of the boat ramp, they have one slot there, and I think that's
It's
98
tight,
feet
yeah.
of where they can park it. So where the flagpole and benches for the residents go down and have a picnic, that slot there and 4 on the west side inside the marina
Okay.
is for them to use, to lease out.
At least out all the way around the corner up to your boat,
Yes, yeah.
right around that corner all the way.
And
So
on,
do they-
and on that 108.
And
foot
then on the
other
other
side.
108, yeah.
Well,
All the way
that's
down to-
basically used to put boats there just for the ones that they're still working on. I don't
No,
think
they're
they have.
leasing, no, they're.
So,
They have
and
leased
it
they're
says in
leasing
addition
spots
to
over
the
there.
108 feet of seawall located on the east side of the ramp, to slip one is, so that's what you're talking
Mhm.
about? Okay.
Mhm.
Well, there's supposed to be an exhibit A attached that I have yet to find. That probably is those other. It says in the contract generally depicted in exhibit A and attached here to is incorporated into the reference. I think those are the ones you're talking about
Yeah.
that they actually use for boat repair.
Yeah.
But this section along the seawall is what they're using for income.
So what'd you like to do?
Approach first.
That's right, I agree.
Negotiate.
Let's talk to them, see what they say.
Yeah.
You've done it. once.
Dwayne's gonna be the one that talks to him?
That's what we're trying to decide.
Okay.
And he's
Let me know as soon as you guys pick.
Well, what do you think, Lori?
I think having Dwayne have a conversation with them, I think is the right way to proceed with it.
I was like,
And then whatever he finds out, you know, we can make our decision. I think it's a little premature until Dwayne has a chance to talk to whomever, and I'm recommending Dwayne.
Well, let me pose this
I don't
as
know
a
if
question then. Dwayne, are you willing to go talk to them?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that was the next piece of that.
I am gonna delegate this one. I'll be
You've already
happy.
been delegated.
Well, maybe take somebody along with you to.
No, I can't do that.
Can't
we
do
can't
that.
do
Is there a vote on it?
I will meet with them this week then.
And what are you gonna say to them? That's my question is,
No, I'm just gonna point out that in the contract, like Mary said, it was neglected on my part to put that in there. I now have a problem, and
Yeah.
here's what I want to do as a remedy. And if they take it, they take it, and if not, then we'll go a whole nother step of saying, well, bye.
So what are you gonna ask them to be, we'd like to revise the
Well,
contract to
yeah,
say what?
I'm gonna ask them to amend that we take back the 5 spots.
Okay,
If they don't like that, then I'm gonna ask them to give us a percentage of those 5 slots.
okay.
And then if they don't agree to anything, then I'm gonna tell them, well,
Okay.
I
Okay.
will start looking for another firm.
Okay.
They've been pretty
last
agreeable with
resort,
everything
yeah,
that we've
Okay.
asked. them to
I
do.
don't want them to leave. I
No.
just, like I
Oh.
said.
yeah, I was gonna say, well,
believe
Nobody-
me,
nobody wants
that's-
them to leave.
Nobody wants them to leave.
But I will not say a breach of contract,
Yeah.
not when I
No.
put my word out there that this was part of the original contract.
Okay,
That's
all right.
gotta burn my
We'll
body.
forget about that word.
All right, I apologize
do.
for using that term. It's,
Well, legally, it is a breach of contract if it's not in there, if you really want to push it that way, but I don't see that with this type of firm, but.
okay.
Okay, what else do we have on the,
Good Lord, I think.
That's it.
That's
President
That is
comments. President comment.
okay,
Oh, yeah.
resident comments?
Whoever is brave enough to speak out.
Donna Fishburne, 1607 Iowa Avenue. I was just wondering if there's any conversation about the pictures that I sent you in an email with the verbiage being contradictory in the jacuzzi area.
Can I reply to that now?
Yeah.
We talked about that this morning. Like I think I referenced back, I thought it was pretty clear that if you're under 12, you can't get into the jacuzzi unless you're accompanied by or supervised. Discussing it this morning of just revising the sign that says nobody under 12 without supervision is going to take care of that.
Thank you.
So that will be done.
Thank you.
That's a good one.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot more to that with the state laws that I could get into, but I don't want to really irritate people.
Make it simple with the sign.
But thank you for your email comments. Do I have any other resident comments? Anybody on Zoom?
Yes, this is Dottie.
Mhm.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, Dottie Dear Wester, 1804 Ohio Avenue. A couple of comments on the ID cards. Didn't really understand whether visitors cards were allowed. There are people who attend card games such as Hand and Foot who are not guests of anybody. They've been attending for a long time. They don't have a visitor's card. They're not an owner, they're not a renter. So I'm not sure where that would fall into. Suggestion on the late fees. This may be a bit radical, but I was thinking that if boats and trailers or vehicles are not following the rules, such as registration tags, license fees, etc., that they be towed. Let a tow company come in and take the vehicle. And then the responsibility for that person to get it back is between them and the tow company, and any fees they owe trailer estates, late fees, towing fees, etc., would be paid to trailer estates and or have a lien against the property. I think there's a way for trailer estates not to hang on to these people who leave things alone and not deal with it. There's an option for that. The rental of space, as I've mentioned before, I'm a professional event planner and have actually been contracted as an independent contractor to manage exactly the kinds of things that you're talking about. However, if I'm elected trustee, I would not be able to apply to be the event manager. However, I would be willing to oversee that if that was a project that the trustees wanted to tag on to a trustee, because I do have more than 15 years experience doing that exact kind of work and can actually oversee somebody who would be hired. An independent contractor would be the way to go. That's the way I was hired in the past. On the food barrel, I would suggest, I think that's been resolved to put the food barrel over by, I think it was the large hall. I just recommend don't put it in front of the bulletin boards because it blocks the bulletin boards. It's been there where the Veterans Club bulletin board is located currently, and it blocked it quite often. It's been nice to not have it there, although I do know it's a good benefit. I'm curious on the marina contractor, how many trailer estates people actually use their services, or if it's mostly out of the park. I just think that's been interesting data. And I think that's it. Am I within my 3 minutes?
Yep. And to answer that, I'm going to say probably a good 65 to 70% of the residents here in the park utilize them as a boat repair for just the convenience of pulling your boat to it. Their prices aren't any higher than any other outside vendor. Some of the work I've heard has been questionable that you've had to take it back, but I don't see that any different from any other mechanic with your car or anything else. But I've had my boat worked on there several times. I've been pleased with the work. Haven't been pleased with the price because the prices for boat mechanics is sky high.
Okay.
I forgot what else. The food barrel is going to be right out here. I don't think it's going to be in front of the veterans thing.
Late fees, I did,
fees.
on the late fees, I did suggest an impound lot on that, so.
We got 10.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we do have the authority to tow.
Yeah, so I say.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But I think right now people are not feeling like there's any consequence. They can leave their boats there for years. They deteriorate and they don't follow the rules or whatever the issue is. But having it towed off this property alleviates trailer estates from having any responsibility for it.
Okay.
Thank you.
We'll look into that. Okay, any other resident comments?
Well, Dwayne,
Yes.
we skipped one of Dottie's questions and I would like to have an answer for it, is the visitors that show up, well, she said specifically hand and foot, that show up without coming in with a resident, and how are we going to handle that? And I have two questions to that. One, who's opening the door because they don't have a fob? And then number two, if we start saying that you have to display your owner card, your resident card or guest card, then that would resolve that as well. Is that how we're going to handle that? I think it's a fair question.
Well, I guess I'll interject real quick because I didn't even know we had outside people that just come into things like that.
Well, this person also plays euchre, so it's not just hand and foot. And
Because
there,
it's just like bingo, a guest coming into bingo. I mean, that's a little different because it's dealing with money, but I mean, this is the parks for park residents, I thought. If there's somebody's guest, not just a everyday person off the street, found out we got a card game and coming to it.
well, that's not the situation. The situation is this person, and I know of several, but I'm thinking of one in particular, and I'm not going to mention names, has been doing this for years, playing here. And even though they're not an owner and they're not a guest, they've been doing it. And so this policy would change that. My question would be, I didn't hear the word visitor in the rules that were being proposed to have the cards, just guest and owner or renter owners. And so I would think of visitor's card, but they'd have to go get a visitor's card to do that, right? If that were the policy.
We never did a policy on visitor cards. We don't issue visitor cards. We just allow residents to bring a visitor.
We do.
I think those people that are playing euchre or hand and foot or whatever have to be sponsored by a resident. They can't just walk in the door. So if there's not a resident that's willing to accept responsibility for their participation by saying they're their visitor.
And I think that's what's going on.
I think each group has to handle it themselves, and whoever's responsible for the group needs to address if there's a problem with who's attending their events.
So it does say a visitor is someone who joins a resident
Right.
with an ID.
Right. And so we already have that. It's already established.
Right. So we don't need to change any of that because unless are these people just walking in off the street? And
Well,
playing
somebody's
cards?
got to let them in. They have to have a fob access to get in. Some residents letting them in.
So that means they're sponsored by a resident then.
Or could you have a sign-up sheet at each game? You know, if a resident's bringing a visitor in, have a sign-up sheet, signing them in or something.
Well, the sign-up sheet for cards are right outside here.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they already have the sign-up sheets.
Yeah, that's
But
how
that-
they know how many is set up and all
Exactly.
that.
Not for hand and foot. But I think the answer I'm hearing is that we need to enforce the policy that they must be sponsored by a guest,
Right.
That's fine.
Exactly.
right? So somebody in the card game, not me, has to raise that issue. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay. Do I have any other resident comments? Hearing none, I'm going to close the workshop at 1:09. Pretty close.
I wish you
Pretty
hadn't said
It's
that. I had
close,
no
but
idea
you
how
see
late it was.
that.
Wow. I know.
Please turn off your microphones.